Brown says, get that India. Big boy.
Call an ambulance! Maybe call a police! Oh, what a shot! What a shot! Campbell Gillard!
Hello and welcome to a very special live broadcast from the tip sheet at TCT as we are at Bank West up in the media block, looking forwards to our very first ever broadcast audio-wise of a New South Wales Cup fixture. Sixties is with me, but he is just absent at the moment as we're looking to get everything organised. Kickoff is ahead at 5:25pm as the Parramatta Eels play host to the North Sydney Bears, who are affiliated with the Sydney Roosters, in case you were wondering. It is round 9 of the New South Wales Cup. It is 3v4. The Bears entering this round in third place ahead of Parramatta at fourth. Bears sporting an impressive record of 4 wins, 1 draw, and then the 2 losses along with a bye. Parramatta sitting at an even 500, 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 bye. Cracking game, looks to be ahead. Roosters plenty of young talent in their team, headlined obviously by Joseph Suwali. Parramatta, you know him, obviously Jake Arthur, Sean Russell. You got, in the centres, Will Penasini, plenty of young talent there, augmented by some solid NRL experienced players. But we are waiting to see about those NRL experienced players because there has been obviously the COVID restrictions going into place across Sydney, and there's been some unconfirmed reports about top 30 players being pulled from this game. So we're just trying to track and see what's happening there, and we're not 100% certain as it is, so bear with us as we find out. And we'll just try and update you when we do find out about that. It is dry at Parramatta at this stage. There was rain forecast, if I'm not mistaken, earlier in the week. It is overcast. Clouds are overhead as the light starts to fade, given that it is 5:15 at this point in time. But conditions look to be quite fair in terms of playing. As Sixties finally returns with some logistical acquisitions. Thank you, my good friend. We are...
for anyone that's listening, I'm the water boy. I am the water boy tonight. I've just been up and down the stairs.
Calm down, Adam
Where
Sandler.
can I go and get
down.
a water for the main caller? Unbelievable.
Being
you can probably hear, look, I'm even out of breath from running up and down the stairs.
Being preparation, Peter, that I am, I totally forgot to bring some water, so much credit to Sixties for going and securing some H2O for me so my throat doesn't completely blow out tonight.
And, mate, there's a bit of star power in the room next door to us. I just noticed it's the Channel 9 setup in there with Aaron Molan and the crew in there. So we're in esteemed company here.
It's the little dipper to the big dipper, right? And TCT, obviously the big dogs in the media circles. Channel 9 got to back off and pay some respect to us. But no, it is very fun, very exciting to be in this sort of situation. And we do want to express our thanks to the New South Wales Rugby League, who have given us permission to broadcast select Parramatta Eels fixtures in the New South Wales Cup and Jersey Flegg this year. This wouldn't be possible without their cooperation, so we sincerely thank them for that access. And yeah, we hope that this can turn into something really cool. We know that we're amateurs at this. This is very much the amateur hour, like what my YouTube channel used to be called, 4020's Amateur Hour. So expect us to stumble over words and make a meal of things at times, but this is a learning process and something that's going to be really fun, we hope, is we can bring you some coverage to games that would otherwise just be score updates on the website.
And also big thanks to Josh Drayton and the Parramatta Eels.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
So when everything has been coming together in terms of our ability to be able to call these matches, of course, we do have to have the backing of the Parramatta Eels and also the organisation to be housed in one of these amazing radio broadcast rooms at Bank West Stadium. I must say, being in here, you can imagine just how it must be to be one of the professionals in this part of the media. And it's a good experience, and we're looking forward to the call. And 40, have you been through the team list as yet? We're waiting to hear if there are any.
Yeah, in my solo preamble, I was letting any prospective listeners who happen to be hot on the click to the link with the blog update to know that it is 3v4 coming into this game. Very exciting on paper, but there are those potential COVID changes looming over the game that we're trying to confirm. But as far as the team was to go, I haven't quite done it yet. So I'll let you know right now. Sorry, I'm just doing some balancing of website stuff alongside the stream. Okay, so for the North Sydney Bears, who are the Sydney Roosters affiliate in this game, they are currently listed as such with Josh Bergerman. I think he's a former Wenty Magpie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the name's familiar.
Yeah, Josh Bergerman at fullback, Lorenzo Mulatalo on one wing with Sione Hopewadi on the other, Tom Carr and Tony Satini are in the centres. Jesse Marsh is at 5'8", and that caused me some confusion because I was like, isn't he playing NRL tonight? But no, I believe that's his brother Ben, who's been called up to the NRL, and he'll be in the halves alongside Josh Ralph. Ben Thomas, Shannon Gardner and Michael Fenn are the front row. In the back row, they've got Harrison Edwards, Jerry Key and Max Bailey. I believe Max Bailey is their captain. On the bench, Thomas Deacon, Elia Fa'atui, Zach Montgomery and Tavita Alifa. For the mighty Parramatta Eels, they look like this. Hayes Perrin will be at fullback with Lala Toa Mata'afa and Sean Russell on the flanks. Will Penasini and Michael Oldfield bring that mix of youth and experience in the centres. Jordan Rankin and Jacob Arthur are the two halves. In the front row, it's Makahesi Makatoa and Wiremu Greg bookending young Joey Lussick with Ellie Elzakam, Ray Stone and Kai Rodwell in the back row. Good to see Ray Stone back from injury. On the bench, it's Nathaniel Roach, Kurt Dillon, Charbel Tassapali and Dylan Clifford. Dave Hollis is the 18th man for the fixture. Jack Morris is the 18th man for the Bears, by the way, another former Eel there. Yeah, so like I said, very good contest on paper. We are waiting to see if there's any updates to this in terms of top 30 players pulling out because there was a mandate, not a mandate, but I believe one NRL reporter was on Twitter earlier saying that if they play in this game, they're outside the bubble and would have to take on the protocol to re-enter the bubble, which means up to a week outside, I think, based on what we know from 2020.
So that would basically mean any of the players that are part of a top 30 squad. That's if that's the case, that any that are a part of a top 30 squad would not be able to be any part of training with that top 30 squad in the coming week.
It is worth mentioning, just noticing there, Keegan Hipgrave has been pulled from that lineup. Whether it's cover for Nathan Brown, we don't know yet, or if it is indeed a top 30 COVID precaution. So, yeah, we're still waiting for official confirmation, but there's at least one change for the Eels there with Kai Rodwell moving from the bench into the lock forward position in the starting team.
Look, I suppose there was that doubt over Nathan Brown. I know that it had been stated through the week that Nathan Brown was going to play today. However, by the looks of that, whether it, as Forty said, whether that's a 18th man situation or whether you've got Keegan Hipgrave into the top lineup, that news will filter through at some stage very soon.
Yeah, hour before kickoff.
Yeah, we're about 5 minutes away from kickoff in this knock-on effect New South Wales Cup game, and I would suggest that they've used the 18th man as a player who's played in the New South Wales Cup earlier in the day. So I think if I was to take a punt on it, I'd say that it's looking more like Keegan Hipgrave must be called into the first grade side today, mate.
Brad Arthur did say that Nathan Brown was, chomping the play, but he was not quite 100%, obviously with that heavy cork on his hip. And if he wasn't in a capacity to go as much as they would like, they would bring Keegs into the lineup. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So, mate, what's your expectation for today's match between the Eels and the Bears?
Well, like we said before, it looks like a really great contest on paper. 3v4, North Sydney Bears affiliated with the Roosters, plenty of talent in there. A lot of eyes would have been on Joe Suwali, who is now out of a lineup, which deprives Will Penasini of a cracking head-to-head matchup there. But for the Eels, I think it's about being competitive like they've been all season. Obviously, sitting on a 3-3 record, they could have improved that at some points. I think the loss against the Western Suburbs Magpies, not Western Sydney Magpies, as long as last week against Mounties would hurt. But they were highly competitive in both those affairs. And for a team that's as young and as inexperienced as they are, that is a very coveted trait, I feel.
Mate, as we've said all along, this is going to be an entertaining team to watch through the year. There's elements of you don't really know entirely what to expect. There's going to be flashes of brilliance. There's going to be times when we are looking at the defence and going, how did that happen? But I think that's what you have to come to expect. First of all, when you've got a number of young players in the team. And secondly, it's a completely new team to all intents and purposes because there was no New South Wales Cup, bar one game. There was no New South Wales Cup that was played last year. So then you're going back 2 years ago to the last time that Parramatta played, and it was the Wentworthville team that was representing the club at that time. And I think it's fair to say that there's not too many of the of that Wentworthville team that played in the 2019 grand final of the New South Wales Cup that's still part of the club or still part of this level of the club. So again, new team, it's going to be, I think, like any new team, the more they play together, the stronger they'll be. And of course, you've got that situation where in New South Wales Cup, same as it is for Jersey Flegg, there's going to be a lot of changes and fluctuations to the team. They're going to be impacted by changes to the first grade lineup. And then, of course, that tends to flow all the way down to the Jersey Flegg. So it's a little bit hard sometimes, I think, to get some form of consistency. But as I said, exciting team to watch, and we're looking forward to bring this call to you.
Yeah, very excited. And like we said, we're going to make a few trip-ups and stumbles here and there, sorry.
Sorry, who is?
Oh, well, definitely me. If on form based on what we've been doing on the tip sheet last couple of weeks, I've definitely put my foot in my mouth a few times. So, yeah.
Oh, look, 40's got the tough job here. He's doing the play-by-play. I just have to sit back and just come up with some sort of smart alecky comment every so often. A bit of it's supposed to be the colour commentary. The expert commentary from me?
The colour commentary provides all the fantastic insight and humour and all the cool things. He's the cool kid on the call, whereas I'm the average Joe. It's just slaving away and tripping over my tongue.
Well, look, what you're expecting is that this is a call by fans for the fans.
Yeah.
So bear with us. We're going to try to have a bit of fun as we make this call. We also want to make sure that we do bring you a serious call of the game, that you get an idea about what's transpiring out there. So we'll be doing our best to make it as entertaining as we can. But of course, this is our first crack at this. So 40's been, I'm actually looking forward to this because 40's been doing this for live blogs for a while. So he's actually going from the written form to the audio form. And mate, I believe we've now got the North Sydney Bears out on the field.
Yeah, North Sydney Bears just taking the field as they move out from their training rooms. And it looks like they'll be kicking off in the first half, running towards the Leagues Club. I am right in saying that, right? That is the Leagues Club direction.
Yeah, score check, mate.
Score check, 0-0 before kickoff. No opening whistle yet. Parramatta Eels also coming out into the field now, and they are definitely receiving the ball. So Parramatta Eels in first possession in this game. Look forward to that. Kickoff is imminent as the text messages start to ring in, wishing us good luck and breaking a leg as all the mates putting either support or the mockers. I'm not entirely sure, 60s.
Well, the text that just came through said, "Good luck, amateurs." So I'll leave everyone else to judge whether that was a mock, or I think that's probably just a typical mate's call on another mate. So here we go, mate. We're just about ready for kickoff.
Yeah, referee taking position now, looking to all players be onside. He's raised his arm. Kickoff has started as the Bears go short, surprisingly short. Ball travels 30 metres out to Parramatta Eels 20, where it's taken by Elzegaham, who takes the opening hit up. He's corralled by 3 or 4 defenders after making about 8 metres gain. And, no wasted time for the ref as he puts his whistle to his mouth and signals a penalty, I believe, for the ball being reefed out there. He's making the stripping action.
Mate, that's a bold move by the Bears going for the strip.
For the strip in a 4-man tackle. The ball is marked 5 metres short of halfway as the ball comes in field to Will Penasini. He taps and goes, takes on the defensive line, takes the ball into the North Sydney Bears half. He's tackled just short of their 40-metre mark. Eels lined up to the left. It's Jordan Rankin at first receiver as he plays the ball one wide to Makahesi Makatoa, who goes into the defensive line. Eels look to be building to their left once more, although Jordan Rankin does switch back to the right. Lussick chooses to go left where he finds Jacob Arthur, plays the ball one wide out to his left edge back rower. In Ray Stone, sorry about that as I try and swallow. Back to the right now with the Parramatta Eels. Arthur plays one wide to Makahesi Makatoa, who centres the ball right in front of the post. We are 20 metres out. Still one tackle in hand for the Parramatta Eels. And now back to the left it's back to the right as a bit of switch of play from Hayes Perrin, but it's a decoy as Elzegaham takes the ball into the line, brings up the last. Eels are on the 10. Lussick at dummy half, plays left. Jordan Rankin, who's going to play the ball at the line, short ball to Big Wiramu Greg, and he is tackled 2 metres short of the line. First possession for the Parramatta Eels, well, technically the second because they got the penalty. 2 completed sets. They do fall short of scoring, just 3 minutes shy. The North Sydney Bears will play the ball just off their line.
No problem there with turning the ball over.
No.
1 metre out from the opposition's line. as the Bears now have to bring it out of their 20-metre zone, and they're already doing a good job with that second tackle, and they're out to the 20.
And apologies to any North Sydney Bears listening along. We do not have jersey numbers from this angle, so it's going to be kind of hard to make out who is playing the ball in what capacity. But as the Bears do come out past their 25-metre line, and it's another penalty, the first for the Bears. Bit of a sloppy play of the ball, but it's a 50-50 going the way of the visitors. Hands on the ball as he gets up.
Yeah, and that was their dummy half that was, I believe, tackled with the ball there, Shannon Gardner.
Yes, Shannon Gardner coming in the place of the team in place of Ben Marsh, who's been promoted to the NRL. Tap and go for the Bears from the restarted play just over halfway. They carry the ball into Parramatta's half, first tackle. Playing to their right now, one wide to their prop forward, who is taken by the Parramatta Eels in a strong two-man tackle. Continuing to the right now for the Bears, playing out to their halfback, who plays wide to the fullback. One-on-one out wide in the centre pairing there. And that would have been Joseph Suwai. No, Joseph Suwai played down the left in a normal game, but he's not in this contest, obviously. Back to the left now for the Bears, as they take the ball just short of Parramatta's 20-metre mark, setting up for their fifth tackle play in just a moment. Or in a one tackle, rather. To the left, sweeping play as their fullback goes on the block. He beats the initial tackle from Jordan Rankin, but is corralled by Wiremu Greg and Elskaham. Good cover play from the two forwards.
There was an opportunity there, mate. Now they're coming straight on the edge of the ruck. They're going to put on a similar play to what the Eels did. Mm-hmm. They're going to be tackled 1 metre out from the Eels line, turn the ball over there. Yeah, sorry for jumping in there, mate. There was very much an opportunity for the North Sydney Bears on that previous play where their player decided to tuck the ball under and go himself. I thought there was an overlap there on the Eels' right side. Opportunity there. Now Parramatta bring the ball out towards their own 20-metre line as we see the ball played on the 20-metre line by Michael Oldfield.
Yeah, really handy carry there for Michael Oldfield, followed up by Ray Stone. Great post-contact meters from the nuggety back roll there. Carries the ball past the 35-metre mark for the Eels. Back to the right. No early kick now from Joey Lussick, looking to catch the fullback out of place. It finds the grass and it will pull up on the 10-metre line for the North Sydney Bears. Their fullback, Josh Bergerman, goes back and cleans it up tidily and gets back out to his 20-metre mark. Good kick chase from the Eels there, pins him not much past there, sorry. Playing right now to one of their wingers. I think that's Lorenzo Molatalo, if I'm not mistaken, who takes it out to North Sydney Bears 30-metre line, and they line up to go back to the left. Another outside back coming in for a carry. Takes it out to the 40-metre mark and just past. Good drive there. Very much a territorial battle now between the two teams. Dummy half run from Marsh there.
He's broken through.
Yeah, from Gardner, who links up with his fullback, Josh Bergerman, but Bergerman is cut down by the Eels in cover tackle.
Joey Lussick there.
Yeah, Joey Lussick, great play there, but he has stayed down. Lussick a bit banged up from the tackle. Bears go to their right where they're wrapped up by Parramatta Eels forwards to bring up the last. Eels scrambling to get back on side now. They run it to the line, cut out pass to their left. Grubber kick goes through, deflected by Joey Lussick, but they are all offside, and the play will come back for a penalty for the North Sydney Bears. They set up camp on Parramatta's try line.
Now, that was the Eels were absolutely scrambling for probably about the last 3 or 4 tackles after that break. It was good cover defence by Joey Lussick to bring the attack to a halt in the first instance, but the pressure is on now. Yeah,
tap and go, back to the post now for the Bears. So they go 2 passes wide to their number 8, Ben Thomas. He's wrapped up by the Eels about 6 metres short of the goal line. Right again, a block play out to their lock forward, Max Bailey, who was pulled up short of the line by just about 30 centimetres there as he falls forwards. They're stacked out both ways now, got options either side of the ruck. They play to the left, decoy to their dummy half who dummies and goes. That was Jesse Marsh, who's playing at halfback there, wrapped up there in front of the posts. Back to the right now, another block play, overlap to the right, but the last pass has hit the deck and looks like it's taken a hand onto the ground. Yeah, correct. So an errant pass has otherwise saved the Eels the blushes there because that was going to be a 2-on-none overlap, but the ball hits the ground and it's tapped forwards.
That's what you call a significant overlap.
Yeah,
a 2-on-none.
Yeah,
because that's basically what the North Sydney Bears had worked across the Eels' 10-metre line, and it just needed that pass to go to hand, and they would have been over, maybe even 10 metres in from the right hand on their right hand side. The Eels now have the feed in the centre of the field, 10-metre line, and looking to get the play away from this end of the field, that's for certain. And Wiremu Greg has the first hit up and takes to about 15 metres out from the Eels line.
So the Eels break right from centre field with Greg, find Makahesi Makatoa on the second, back to the left. Strong contact from the Bears, drives him onto his back. as the Eels work it out past their 20. Left again as, Kai Rodwell gets a carry. Good post-contact meters from the lock forward there. He's been very good in the year for us, hasn't he?
Mate, he's been a surprise packet, not because I wouldn't have thought he was capable of it, but it's almost that his joining the club was unheralded, so he's doing quite a good job.
Smooth left edge transition for the Eels puts Michael Oldfield into a bit of space. He pinches about 15 metres against the sliding defence, takes them into the Bears' half, setting up for the last tackle. And they will kick it from 10 metres inside the Bears' territory as the ball is played to the right to Jacob Arthur. He hoists up the bomb to the right edge. Kick chases led by Elsgaham and Penasini. And the Bears will wrap it up with Sione Hopewadi, who is met by the aforementioned chasers and tackled on his 20-metre mark.
There was a solid set from the Eels. It needed to be after being under pressure on their own line. They weren't able to exert the same sort of pressure on the Bears. It was very much a territorial set of 6. And any time you got a completion like that, that's good work. So we're 40 metres out from the Bears line at the moment.
Yeah, Bears fighting up to just short of halfway now with a tackle and handover, if I'm not mistaken. And they will play it to their right as Marsh kicks early in the count, trying to find Hayes Perham out of position. But it's very much a touch-finding kick there, angled hard towards the sideline where it's marked out about 13 metres short of Parramatta's goal line.
So just over 8 minutes gone in this match, mate. It's probably fair to say that the Bears have had the better of the attacking opportunities. It's not so much an arm wrestle, but it's probably one of those games where they look like the Bears look like they're ready to crack the Eels at any stage, and it's a matter now of holding strong and maybe trying to get a repeat possession to try and put the Bears under some sort of pressure. Yeah,
Eels got to make sure they stay in this arm wrestle and don't give away a cheap penalty or error. Currently doing that is is that Elsgaham? No, that is not Elsgaham. That is instead Mata Arthur who's come in for a run. Sorry about that, listeners. Eels fighting their way out to their 40-metre mark with a tackle or two in hand, playing to the left as Rodwell links up with Arthur, playing it left to Ray Stone, who gets through the first defender but is then wrapped up by the cover defenders, carries the ball into the Bears' half, setting up for a clearing kick for the Eels at some stage. Arthur takes on the line on the fourth, finds Will McGregor on the short ball to take the Eels 15 metres into the Bears' territory and bring up the last. Options either side of the Eels, they play the right edge short side as Rankin takes the ball and kicks it back midfield, hoofing bomb, but it's taken comfortably by Hopewadi, who is met by Jacob Arthur on the kick chase.
Yeah, again, another solid set from the Eels, work play downfield, turning the ball over in the Bears' quarter line, but no real pressure on the Bears' defence during that set.
Yeah, good solid fundamental football from both teams here. No obnoxious errors, barring those early penalties, one apiece. Defence has been pretty sound, barring the one line break that the Bears scored via their dummy half, Gardner, as they look to fight it out of their half now, carrying the ball up just over their 40-metre mark as the Eels defend strongly. Another early kick there from Marsh, who kicks to his right, looking to find the sideline once again. It's going to... I'm not sure if that was a 40-20, but...
No, it wasn't a 40-20.
Hayes Perham is treated as such and bats it back in. Thankfully, he doesn't commit an error there and manages to tie up the ball in time. So obviously a bit of miscommunication there from Perham and his front line of defence. Thankfully, the Eels aren't punished for it. Sean Russell takes the next carry as he gets out to the 20-metre mark. Up there for Michael Oldfield. Good run from Oldfield there. Gets in behind the ruck and takes a good 15 metres from the retreating defence.
Mate, it's obvious that the Bears' tactic is to turn the Eels forwards around.
Yeah, definitely something they've identified.
Yeah, and unfortunately with that set, if that had been allowed to go into touch, they would have had a little bit of a break while they got ready to take the tap centre field from that, but instead they had to work their way back. Now it's right on the halfway line. Eels in possession, last tackle.
Yeah, Rankin had turned Will McGregor inside for the last before he gets a flat clearing kick away, which is eaten up by the fullback Josh Bergerman. Unfortunately, that one was taken on the full. He gets back out to nearly his 30-metre line. Eels are set defensively, though, as the Bears play the second tackle through Lorenzo Mulatalo, carrying it out to the right. Short gain for him as the defence pushes up and nails him. Back to the left now. No, to the right again for the Bears. Sorry, I was trying to be preemptive there and got caught out. They're playing it through their backs now. Simple stuff as the Eels had kicked it early. Well, not kicked it early, but kicked it clear long. Expansive play to the left for the Bears. They have numbers now for cut-out pass, catching the Eels short. That is the centre, Tony Satini, I believe, making it into space there. Or he's cut down by Will Penasini. Yeah, good cover tackle there from the young centre. Eels scrambling to get back on side, though, as the Bears look to spread it all the way to the right. Long cut-out pass from Marsh at halfback. have the Eels short 2-on-1. But once again, the final pass, oh my goodness, the final pass from their fullback Bergman to the winger Mulatalo is just not there in the right place, and Mulatalo can only tap it into touch. The first one was too low. The second one was too high. Let's hope it's not Goldilocks, and the third one's just right.
Oh, look, I hope not. That was another case of, I think it was 3-on-0, the overlap that was worked by the Bears on the Bears left, the Eels right. And then when they spread it from there, they had an overlap on their right side,
and they
on the Eels left. And
brute force a cut-out pass instead of playing simple hands. And
but fair play, they only had a one-man overlap on that last play.
Good carry from Kai Rodwell gets the Eels underway in the next set. He's followed up by Sean Russell, who gets in behind the ruck. Good carry from the young outside back there. Bears are being kept on side by the ref at this point in time. Makahesi Makatoa carries the ball on the third.
40 metres out. They're going to the left now through Arthur. Arthur's seen half a gap there, brought down just over the 50-metre line.
Yeah, he's sort of show and go there from young Jake taking on the line, but he is trapped well by the Bears defence. Right now for Jordan Rankin as he finds Kai Rodwell through the middle. Rodwell pinching a few more yards after contact, as I like to say in the States. Sounds nicer than metres after contact. But the ball has squirreled out, and the referee, after posturing... Referee after posturing for a second signals a penalty for the Parramatta Eels. Sorry, we're just getting a few more updates via the phone and we're trying to keep track of everything. Just being updated that the Marsh boys are indeed twin brothers. So there you go, cool little factoid for this game.
Well, we'll use that as why we couldn't tell the difference between the two of them.
Eels play left and then right as Greg takes the ball steaming into the line on the second. Great carry, fast play the ball.
It's on.
Could have been a penalty there as the Bears slow it down. They play right to Jacob Arthur, who plays to Jordan Rankin, to a sweeping Hayes Perham. Will Penasini, 2-on-2. Penasini, no! Penasini looked to, was it stretch out or try and put the ball down? I couldn't really tell from our angle there, but he had
lost the ball over the line.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was lost in the act of trying to place it or trying to flick it an offload. Penasini had the 2-on-2, took it on himself, and the ball has popped out of his hands one way or another and trickled into into touch over the dead ball line for a 20-metre restart. So first real chance for the Parramatta Eels, and they come oh so close.
Well, when I said it's on here, I was looking to the left because I thought that the Bears' defence looked very threadbare on the left. It was a blindside play to me was on. The Eels instead went open to the right, and the opportunity was still there going to the right, but unfortunately couldn't quite get the job done, lost the ball over the line, as we see the Bears now hitting that right edge and almost getting the overlap again.
Yeah, that was Fen playing the Marsh out to the centre, Tom Carr, who made a half break there before he was wrapped up, taking the Bears well into Parramatta's half now, setting up for a strong attacking kick and a couple of tackles. Left now to Marsh, who plays out the block play to his fullback, who meets the back rower, Harrison Edwards, who was absolutely crunched by Lalato Mata'afa, and the ball was popped out. What a read and hit from the, I think he's a fullback come winger for the Parramatta Eels.
And he's actually from the Bulldogs, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm taking a mouthful of water there. But yeah, he was a pre-season acquisition for the reserve grade roster and has been sort of riding the bench as a utility back for a couple of weeks now and gets his first proper start for the Eels, with Hayes Dunster taking his place in the NRL lineup this week.
Represented Samoa, I believe, at the World Nines. So interesting acquisition for the Eels there, and couldn't have read that play any better. Jammed, precise timing, forced the ball loose. Eels feed 25 metres out from their own line. Score
is 0-0 after 16 minutes here. Parramatta Eels break to their left via Wiramu Greg, who takes on the defence. Makes about 10 minutes where he's pulled down. Kai Rodwell up on the second as he steps back in behind the markers. Looks like a one-on-one strip there from the Bears, but it's not successful. Right now, cutting out Hayes Perham to find Makahesi Makatoa, who steams into the defensive line. 5 metres short of halfway here for the Parramatta Eels now, as they continue to build to their right. Hayes Perham at first receiver, playing it to the line. Had Jordan Rankin to his right, but chooses to step back off his right foot and take them on. It will now come to Rankin as he switches to the left. Dummies underneath to Kai Rodwell, finding Jacob Arthur on the sweep, out to Michael Alford, early ball. Good early pass to Sean Russell, steps back inside off the sliding defence, beats the first man, comes back in to find Lorenzo Mulatalo on the sweep, and Tom Carr, I believe, and is tackled 20 metres out. Right now for Parramatta Eels, as Jacob Arthur puts up a crossfield kick towards the post. Free chases in there. Oh, it's a heavy contest for the ball. Is that a knock-on? No, he's going to say offside chases than Parramatta Eels. So I wasn't sure what the indiscretion was for initially, but he has signalled offside chases. Really good set there from the Eels. Early ball for Michael Oldfield, who did plenty of the space he was given.
An Eels penalty there.
He had his arm pointed towards the North Sydney Bears, so he's ruled an offside defender there off the contest for the ball, it looks like. So Makahesi Makatoa, tap and go for the big man there, the Mochaccino haircut. Takes it about 3 metres short of the post, right in front. left for the Eels as they hit William McGregor on a short ball. There's about half the team wrapping him up there in front of the posts. They stocked up the numbers there. It means they're short to the left, though. It's a 4-on-3 as the Eels play out wide. Block play. Oh, no. Jamming defense from the winger there. Lorenzo Mulatalo was the only option he had. And under pressure there, the Eels have dropped the ball. And was that? Ray Stone, yeah. So Ray Stone playing as the sweeping option there. It was going to be a tough catch and pass situation, but if he gets it done, Sean Russell goes across untouched. But instead, the Bears survive and will come in centre field, 10 metres out for a scrum.
That was probably the best attacking opportunity that the Eels have had in this half. We're now almost halfway through the first half, still no score on the board. We've got a scrum 10 metres out from the Bears line. That was probably close to the first time that they've been under genuine pressure with a repeat set on their line. And I think the Eels had manufactured quite a good opportunity there. Unfortunately, as you said, Stoney put the ball down. Stone's had quite a good first 20 minutes of this half in his return from injury. Yeah, good to see Stoney back. And the only knock that's been on him in the last year or two has been the injuries. So always happy to have him out there on the field. Really strong defender and an underrated attacker with his ability to push through initial contact. It's been a high-quality contest across the first 20 minutes, to be honest. The Bears, like the third-place team that we knew they are, turning out, being very strong across the park. Some nice early kicking from them too. They take play over halfway now by going to the left and turning their left edge back rower, Harrison Edwards, back inside to the ruck. Eels meet him strongly and force to play the ball as they look to clear the ball with a bomb to Parramatta Eels' right edge. Hayes Perham's under it and takes it comfortably, looking to centre the ball now as he goes across his 20-metre mark. Eels getting back on side now. Looks like they'll take the first hit up via Elskaham, perhaps. That was probably the most comfortable defensive set I think the Eels have had during this first 20 minutes. Oh, sorry to interrupt you there, 60s, but dangerous tackle on Ellie Elskaham there. He is picked up with the old wishbone tackle and dropped on his head. Easy penalty for a dangerous throw there as Jordan Rankin hurriedly takes the kick, looking to play up-tempo football here, perhaps marked at just over halfway by the touchy. It'll be Lala Tolmatafa passing the Will Penasini, who taps and goes once again, going into the teeth of the defence. 3 defenders come and meet him as he carries the ball about 10 metres on his own, but 12 metres into the Bears' half. Left now to, is that Kai Rodwell? There's a whole swarm of jerseys across his back, so I can't really see there. Eels now about 28 metres out from the Bears' goal line, though, as Lussick ball to pass out to Jordan Rankin to the left, who finds Jacob Arthur. Early kick there from Hayes Perham. It's been deflected. Sean Russell giving great chase, but he's beaten to the ball by Joshua Bergerman, who steps past him and is then met by Hayes Perham in a strong tackle about 17 metres out from the Bears' goal line. So a called shot there from the Eels. They saw something they liked and looked for the early kick, mate. And I'm not sure whether that kick, the deflection, was going to work in the Eels' favour or against it. I'm going to say it worked against the Eels. I think so. Because it gave Bergerman the opportunity to clean the ball up. And he was half a chance of making a break down the right side of the field for the Bears. Fortunately, there was cover defence there to bring him down. As we see another overlap on the Bears 30-metre line. However, we've got a forward pass call from the ref. Seems like a good call to me. Really hard to tell from our angle, to be honest, though, as we do like to have a somewhat partisan eye sometimes when it comes to the blue and gold. But in this case, it looked like at least a marginal call. It was caught short via the long pass, but it has come back. But just prior to what you were saying, I do want to credit Hayes Perham there. He made the kick, but also made the clean-up tackle, because otherwise that was potentially a long-range break and maybe even the opening point of the game. And we've got Kurt Dillon on the field. That was the player that you were looking to identify under the swarm of North Sydney defenders as the Eels win the scrum and go to their left. And we've got Oldfield hitting it up 25 metres out from the Bears' line. Stacked right edge for the Eels now as they play from left to right, looking like a rugby union backline, actually. It's Makasi Makatoa running into the defence on the second, though, as they do load up to the right once again. Front plate, played out the back to Jacob Arthur, 2 out wide as Rankin turns Will Penasini back into the ruck. Opportunity for the young man as he beats initial defenders, but is wrapped up in cover defence a few metres short of the line. That was a good run there from young Will. To the left now for the Parramatta Eels, Makasi Makatoa is a decoy playing out the Jacob Arthur. Cut out pass to Michael Oldfield. Beautiful ball from the young halfback as he puts Oldfield over, and that'll be the opening points of the game. Try time, baby, try time. So we saw the ball go to the left. It got into Jacob Arthur's hands. As you'd expect from the young playmaker, he's delivered a perfect pass. He's found Michael Oldfield running a good line back between the winger and the centre. There was no way of those two defenders were coming up off their line, and the speed of the pass, the speed of the line that was run, it was just too difficult for the Bears to defend. And we have the Eels now looking to take a kick for goal, probably about 10 metres in from their left, and looking to take out a, it's 4-0, looking to extend that to 6-0. Last week we had Rankin missed a few kicks. It was probably in the end, it was goals that was the difference between the Eels and the Mounties last week in the 34-26 result to Mounties, although the Mounties did get a couple of penalty goals there. It was 5 tries apiece. In the Eels, 24 points, 5 tries, 2 goals. So let's see if we can get a good start on the kicking front from Jordan Rankin today. I said, about 8 metres in from the left-hand touchline, the O'Connell Street side of the field.
There we go, some local geography there for you. I'm not sure if the scorers are marked down as the 21st or 22nd minute for Michael Oldfield, but yeah, really lovely to see a young half taking on the line like that with the confidence to play the ball.
It's long enough. It's high enough, and it's straight between the posts. Yes, it's channeling Frank Hyde here for the Cumberland throw as the Eels go out to a 6-0 lead with just on 17 minutes of the first half remaining.
Yes, sir. Really good to see the Eels lifting through the arm wrestle there. The Bears threw a lot at them in that first 20-minute period. They soaked it all up. Had a couple of lucky chances, admittedly, with the right edge of the Bears butchering probably 2 tries, if we're going to be frankly honest. But, you take your breaks when you can get them in footy, mate. So
we've got the Bears kicking off, kicking to the right edge of Parramatta, taken by...
Kurt Dillon. Taken by the centre? No, by the winger, Lala Taumata-Afa, who then finds Kurt Dillon. We got there eventually. Lussick still a dummy half. Nathaniel Roach yet to be injected into the game, it looks like, as the Eels play to their left, looking to centre the ball on the second. Lussick, again a dummy half, finding Kai Rodwell, who goes in the line, but plays the ball before he gets the contact into Makatoa, who makes a huge run. Half break there for the big man as he fends off defenders and gets out over halfway.
That's about 15 metres post-contact.
That is sensational. Then Rodwell comes back himself, getting the carry to take the Eels well into the half for the Bears. Playing left now as Jacob Arthur takes the ball at first receiver, shapes up the kick but passes out the back to Hayes Perryman, finds Michael Oldfield, who darts back to the right, looking to take contact and set up the tackle for the last. Playing right, the Jacob Arthur sums up his options as he goes midfield with a bomb. Chase is coming through. Rankin leading the chase, looking for a tap back. The ball comes down off the Bears, perhaps. His referees ruled no touch. The Bears will clean it up on the second bounce.
Well, if you've got the catch cry of get to your kick after a try is scored and you've got the kick off, the Eels have just gone through that set as close to perfect as you can get. You probably, the only thing might have been better might have been to have somehow worked a repeat set, but we've now got the Bears 32 metres out from their line, looking to get themselves back up towards halfway. Eels defence holding quite well at this stage.
At the risk of invoking the mockers on this game, there's been no 6 again calls yet, mate. Just the 2 penalties, or 3 penalties after Els Gambush dropped on his head, sorry.
I don't know who the ref is, mate, but we'll have to get the
he's
name
calling,
at this stage.
calling a very clean game. I'm really happy for how the 5 is. Good effort there from Ray Stone on the attempted charge down there as Hayes Perrin fields the ball on his 11-metre mark and heads into the kick chase. Good kick return, healthy gain of about 15 metres there as he plays the ball 27 metres out from Parramatta's goal line, centre field, left to Sean Russell, stemming onto the ball as he splits the defenders almost, carrying the ball out to nearly 40 metres out.
That was a strong charge from Sean Russell then.
Young man tearing into the defensive line there as Kurt Dillon centres the ball to the tram tracks, or the second set of tram tracks, playing about 20 metres in from field, it looks like. Right now for Parramatta Eels, as Jordan Rankin takes the ball to Makasi Makatoa, who looks to find outside support but takes the tackle instead. Still a play in hand for the Eels, it looks like, as they line up to their left. But Nathaniel Roach fresh onto the field in a headgear, plays to the short side. Elsgaham shows and goes, taking the ball about 28 metres short of the North Sydney Bears goal line, setting up the last as Roach plays out to Jacob Arthur on the last. He pumps and then finds Rankin for a short little kick. This is a cheeky kick. Flat style, oh my, the bounce. That was a interesting kick from Rankin. Stabbed kick that sort of found space between the winger and fullback. All it needed was a halfway friendly bounce to the Parramatta Eels to see Sean Russell fly onto it and probably score. Instead, it bounces sensationally for the Bears. They scoop it up and avoid a pretty significant bullet.
Well, it almost created a half chance for the Bears then. It was one of those kicks where it was going to create a try opportunity, but for which team was it going to create the opportunity?
So, yeah, no harm, no foul for both teams there as the Bears survive the raid. They're looking to rock it out pretty simple now, nothing fancy. Eels defending strongly through the middle as the Bears play the ball on their 40-metre line. Playing to the left now as Marsh turns the back rower Harrison Edwards back infield. He's seen a bit of work there, Edwards, as they've used him as that inside runner a number of times. They've gone away from the early kick now from the Bears as Marsh clears it on the last. Got a little bit underneath this one. Not a great kick as the Eels field it on their 20-metre mark. Hayes Perrin being really sound on the high ball this week. He takes about 10 metres back in his kick return before he is driven back just behind the 30-metre mark of the Parramatta Eels. Eels tripping back on side now. Looks like it's going to be Lolotol Mata-Arfa on the second. No, they play to the left instead to Sean Russell, who has another really good carry. That's a great carry from the young man there as he powers about 12 metres through for a gain to take the Eels to the 40-metre mark. Option to the left, they play right to Mata-Arfa, who takes the ball to halfway. Some really good post-contact metres from the outside backs here for the Parramatta Eels, keeping them firmly in control throughout the arm wrestle here. Lussick playing that sort of hybrid lock forward role now with Nathaniel Roach on the line, on the field, who takes on the line, taking the ball into the North Sydney Bears half. As we get our first 6 again call there, the lock forward dummy half come lock forward, got there, excelling in that new position. Playing right now to Lussick, who then finds Kurt Dillon, centering the ball about 11 metres out, centre field right in front of the post. Eels options either side. They play to the left. It's going to be Lussick to Arfa. Arfa shapes to go left, but then steps off his left foot back to the right, beats the initial defender, straightens back up, goes back to the left, splits the defence, and is pulled down about 3 metres short of the line.
Stepped off both. Quite a run.
Oh, a little block play in front of the post there from Nathaniel Roach as he looks to find, is that Charbel? I'm not sure. Can't see the numbers there. Wrapped up. Was that Kurt Dillon? Kurt Dillon again. Block play the Rankin, who plunges a short ball to Hayes Perham. Great play. Bears had shot up out wide. Block play from the Eels with nice hands from Jordan Rankin. Soft hands to find Perham to beat the rush, get Perham in a one-on-one situation out wide, and he beats the defenders to score down the right. Parramatta Eels leading 10-0, kick to come. Just 11 and a half minutes left in the first half.
Well, just a few short minutes ago, mate, you mentioned that there hadn't been a 6 again call. The first 6 again call in the match comes. It falls Parramatta's way. They get the repeat set deep in the Bears' territory. You had the play comes out to the right. Hayes Perham runs a great line off Jordan Rankin. He did remarkably well to hold on to the ball because it looked like it was slipping out of his hand, sort of on his right hip. He managed to pull the ball in tight, get through the last line of defence, plant the ball over the line. He scored probably about almost 20 metres in from the right-hand touch line. No.
It's the first tram track, so 10 metres in.
We're about 9 metres in
Yeah.
from the Eels' right side, the broadcast side of the field. And we're looking for Jordan Rankin to emulate his first kick, steer it between the posts to take the Eels out to hopefully a 12 points to 0 lead.
A lot of water left to travel under the bridge in this game, but very pleasing to see the Eels wrest control from the Bears through the middle and then capitalise on that possession and territory, mate.
There's definitely been a change to the way the game's unfolded. You mentioned before that the Bears have gone away from the early kick. Now, that early kick I thought was working quite well for them because it was turning the Eels forwards around, making them do a lot more work than they would like to do. That was then giving the Bears lots of opportunities in attack because they were drawing in a tired defence into the middle of the field, sending the ball out wide.
In the meantime, Jordan Rankins has stepped in and stroked it beautifully for a bit of a Jonathan Thurston fade as the touches raised the flags, taking the Parramatta Eels out to a 12-0 lead with now under 10 minutes to play in the first half.
Yeah, so as I was saying, with that change in the tactics, you've probably had the Eels' defence better able to contain the Bears within their own half of the field. So the territorially, the game has changed as we have the Bears kicking off deep into the Eels' right-hand side of the field. And we've got Kurt Dillon again hitting it up. First tackle, 15 metres out from the Eels line. Nathaniel
Roach jumping into dummy half as the number one rake on the field now, finding Ellie Osgerham for a really strong carry there from the edge back row there. Beating the first defender and getting the ball out 25 metres for the Eels. Playing left now as Makahesi Makatoa goes in the defensive line. The man's getting through a mountain of work like every week. He's been a great addition to the Eels. Joined the Eels last year actually, but saw most of the season wiped out obviously with COVID. Playing right now as Roach jumps out dummy half, trying to catch some markers who aren't quite square, but the defence covers for him and he's pulled down just short of halfway. Left now as Lussick plays it to Makatoa, seeing the Eels charge into the Bears half. About 8 metres in now with no more tackles to spare. That brings up the last.
What about the work rate of Makatoa?
Oh, just an absolute warhorse. Rankin's challenge on the kick, but that's fair. He hoists the bomb up and it's taken about 8 metres off the line by Josh Bergerman, who's shown a clean set of hands for most part of the game so far.
And Rugby League 101 executed by the Eels again there. The first set of 6 after the try, after the kick-off, complete the set, get to the kick, ball's turned over to the Bears 5 metres out from their own line, and now their third tackle just crossing the 20-metre line now.
Fairly compressed defensive line now for the Bears too, as they sort of suck them in. Their trainer's trying to pump them up, waving his hands, going, come on, boys. They play to their left now. Good carry there by, is that the...
Seriously, mate, he is. Their trainer is telling them, and the trainer has just got a 6 again from the referee. The trainer was calling to the ref for 6 again, and he's got a 6 again call from the referee. He's still waving his arms, the trainer. What is going on here, mate?
Bears playing right.
Get off the field, you mug.
Bears going block for block there, but it's well read by Michael Oldfield, who makes the legs tackle. Coming back to the left now as Marsh plays at the block play, looking to find Bergerman, if he is. No, that is Marsh there himself, sorry. So it would have been the other half. Josh Ralph looking up to him. Bergerman is wrapped up by Will Penasini. Good tackle there from the young centre. Number 15 is Elia Fatui for the Bears, and he centres the ball on the 20-metre mark. A couple of tackles left in this set.
He's still out there, mate. Look, and he's still waving his arms.
60s.
He's going to take off in a minute.
Numbers here for the Bears down the right, but a good jam from Michael Oldfield brings the end to any opportunities for a spread down that edge. Good.
Stop flapping your arms.
Flappy birds out there. Grab a kick now from the Bears, but Lyle Mata'afa has positioned himself sensationally, clean it up. Kick was down Parramatta Eels' right edge, but Mata'afa fields it on his goal line, gets back at about 4 metres. Eels lined up now to work it out of their ruck, playing it to their right as Will Penasini gets a carry. 3 defenders on him, but he is tackled about 30 metres off his line. Solid carry against a couple of defenders there.
And thankfully with the Bears in defence, that trainer's now off the field. Because, mate, I was getting sick of the arms flapping away. I swear he was going to take off at any moment.
Mata'afa had a couple of grabs at the ball there as he was rucking out, but thankfully didn't drop it. Wiremu Greg is back on the field. The big man carries it out to about 28 metres from Parramatta's line as they work it to the left. A cut out past Jacob Arthur. Early ball here for Ray Stone, who shapes to his left opportunity but dummies it and goes himself. Probably should have linked up with Michael Alford, but made plenty of metres still himself. Gives the Eels a bit of breathing space for their clearing kick as Jacob Arthur takes it to his 40-metre line and drives it downfield. Probably not a real 40-20 attempt there, even though it was inside the 40, as the left winger, John Sione there, fields the ball on the full and takes it back out 30 metres from his line. Whew. Lots of mouthfuls there, but the Bears continue to work it out from their line. Right now, as they're about 38 metres off their own goal line, lining up through the middle to play the ball. And that one is maybe Tavita Relief. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell from this angle. As they continue to work it right, Parramatta Eels defence is lined up with numbers though, and they meet them strongly on halfway. One more tackle left in the set, if I'm not mistaken, as they play to the right edge short side. Oh, numbers there for the Bears. Eels jam via Sean Russell, but the sweep defence from the inside man undoes any potential real damage there, and that will bring up the last as the Bears shape the kick. Well, they were going to shape the kick from 30 metres out in Parramatta's line, but there's a treacle slow play the ball for the banged up Lorenzo Mulatalo. Lets the Eels reset as they kick towards Mata'afa. He's under plenty of pressure but takes it cleanly. Beats the first 2 chases and is then wrapped up quickly by the next 2. Good set of hands there from
that was a tremendous take under quite a lot of pressure. Bears all over him. Gets up, takes the ball, lands on his feet, gets another couple of metres. The Eels are now 21 metres out from their own line. As we see,
Penasini takes a run and then it's nearly dropped by Elsgeham on the next tackle, who manages to miraculously bring it in before making contact with any Bears defenders. Good call from the ref, or good no call rather from the ref. Roach playing it left to Wiremu Greg, who takes it up to the Parramatta Eels 40-metre mark. Good strong post-contact metres from the North Queensland recruit. As the Eels are stacked up to the left here, there's an opportunity to play the ball wide. They've got numbers. Do they see it though? Nathaniel Roach plays it out to...
I think they see it, mate.
Yeah,
no. It's... Ray Stone's been turned back on the inside.
So Kurt Dillon at first receiver, playing with Jacob Arthur, then turns Ray Stone back inside. Eels on halfway as they look to clear the ball in the last. It's Jordan Rankin the option as he stabs it low, finds a grass between Hopewadi and Josh Bergerman, sorry. A nice little clearing kick there. Leads the chase in his own kick and wraps the ball up about 18 metres off the Bears' goal line.
And again, Rugby League 101, get through the set, get to your kick, good kick chase, couple of tackles to get out of the 20-metre line for the Bears, and we see them now, third tackle, 30 metres out from their line.
Yeah, tidy work there by Joey Lussick and Nathaniel Roach, the hooker duo work. Oh, great read there. Great jam. So is that Wiremu Greg? I'm trying to figure out who's made the force the error there in defence. The Eels aren't really congratulating one particular person. It might have been Wiremu Greg that forced the ball out there. But the Bears have turned the ball over regardless. 35 metres out from the line, centre field. Parramatta Eels will set the scrum with just over 3 minutes left in the half. So an opportunity to extend out to a potential free score lead here.
It'll be interesting to see which side of the field they go. Scrum. This is one of the ideal spots in the field, about 30 metres out,
Eels,
right in the middle of the field.
Eels showing a 3-3 split here. So they've got options either side. Bears are marked up man-to-man. Which way are they going to go? Oh, it's a Hayes Perham shift, so they're going to either go left with numbers. Yeah, left with numbers. It wasn't a decoy. Arthur takes on the line, finds Michael Oldfield on an unders ball. Great run from the centre there as he's brought down by 2 defenders, eventually taking the ball 15 metres down to the 20-metre mark. It's now Kurt Dillon onto the ball as he centres it slightly towards the posts. He's driven back by 3 Bears defenders, and the play will end up on the 20-metre mark once again. Options now to the left of the Parramatta Eels, and they do go that way. It's Jacob Arthur with 3 men to his left, but he shapes it to turn the ball back inside the Joey Lussick before his pass is batted down, correct? And, okay, so no, I wasn't sure what the ref was calling there, but the Eels have recovered the ball, and he's going to signal 6 again. That was Michael Oldfield on the clean-up duties there. As we play out the Joey Lussick, who looks to find Wiremu Greg, but no, holds onto the ball. Greg was the option on the crash line there, but he chooses to hold on instead. The ball is just to the left of the post, 12 metres out. And now 11 metres out. The play is called up for the play of the ball.
No, go back and play it. Go back that 1 metre, mate.
Right now, as Kurt Dillon... Oh, no, go back again. I'm not really sure why we're going back again, but ref being a bit of a pedant there. Right to Kurt Dillon as deja vu happens. Play short to Wiremu Greg, but it was not really on. The big man drops the pass, and the Bears are off the hook with just under 2 minutes to play.
Could you see that coming?
Yeah.
We had 3 attempts to play the ball. First of all, the Parramatta player was 1 metre past where he should have been. And the next one, he was probably 6 inches to the left of where he should have been.
The second one is the one that gets you, mate.
And you just knew that it was going to force... The players had set themselves for 2 runs prior to that. You just knew that there was going to be a stuff-up somehow with the pass or the catch. And that's exactly how it unfolded. So we've got just over 1 minute of the half to go, and the Bears 20 metres out from their own line.
Yeah, Bears win the loose head and feed from the scrum win. You don't see too many tight heads in rugby league, of course. Eels just need to hold out for 1 minute now as the Bears play to their right edge short side. Well tackled there by... Oh, not well tackled. It looked like Jacob Arthur was going to make it the clean tackle, but he then gets some assistance to bring the Bears runner down. And I think the Bears maybe have 2 tackles in hand at this point. Playing it to their open side left edge. Block play going to double block play. That could have been a penalty, to be honest. That was probably an old-fashioned shepherd. Early kick, but great work.
Great take.
Lalato Mata Arthur has having himself a pretty handy little half. Not a lot of ball, but he's been really good. Reads the early chip play and gets in amongst the contested catch over his shoulder, taking it cleanly and securing possession, and giving the Eels an outside chance to score with 30 seconds left on the clock. Will Penasini takes the tackle. Left field now is Rankin dummies. Goes to his left, finds Jacob Arthur, early ball to Hayes Perham. Straightens the iron before finding Michael Oldfield. Oh, but Sean Russell is not correctly in position, it looks like. And the ball's popped. Oh, my goodness. Ball's coming out in some way. And it's a race to the try line now as 3 Eels look to corral the run against the player. I mean, really no idea what's happened there.
That's half-time, thankfully.
But it looks like some coalition of Hayes Perham, Sean Russell, and... I'm not sure who the third defender was, but they've shown between the 3 of them, showed plenty of wheels to get the run against play shut down and save the Eels some blushes before half-time. That does bring an end to the proceedings in the first half. At half-time, the Parramatta Eels do lead the North Sydney Bears 12-0. Try scorers, let's say Nathan Oldfield. Michael Oldfield opened the scoring for the Eels in the 21st minute, we're going to say. And then later on, we saw Hayes Perham crash over down the right. So Hayes Perham credited to a try in the 28th minute. Jordan Rankin hitting both his conversions from either side of the field, about 10 metres in either side, take the Eels out to that 2-score lead. And we'll probably keep yakking for at half-time, but look forward to the second half starting in about 10 minutes, I'll say, folks.
Yeah, so if you want to hear us yakking away during the half-time break, please stay with us. Of course, we'd welcome any feedback. So if you've got any feedback that you'd like to drop onto the blog. Mm-hmm. I know that this is... it's not really a discussion blog, but if you've got any feedback for how these 2 mugs are going at calling their first New South Wales Cup game live, then give us a bit of feedback. Obviously be kind. I mean, be kind. This is the first shot at it. We've got 40 who's gone from the written word to the spoken word with the call. So, I don't think unless you've ever seen 4020 in action. with the laptop there, typing away. He's probably unique in that ability to be able to watch a game and call it with the written word. Today, he's stepped up. He's making the call. Mate, how do you feel you've gone in the first half?
I think it could have gone a lot worse, and that's a great passing mark. I feel like you joke about P's getting degrees in tertiary education, but we'll take any sort of passing mark today. It's been a lot of fun, and we really thank everyone that's been listening. We know there's not a ton of listeners because it's the first time out, but this is very much a brand new endeavour and something we're looking forward to exploring for the rest of 2021 throughout the Jersey Flag and the New South Wales Cup, mate.
So, mate, your take on the first half just then?
Yeah, well, the Bears came out of the block strongly, looked to kick early to try and flip the field position, and then attack with the ball expansively down that right edge in particular. They caught the Eels out a couple of times, and barring a couple of errant passes from, I believe it was Josh Bergerman, but it might have been Marsh or the other halfback, Josh Ralph. One of the three even went too low the first time or too high the second time, and thankfully saved the Eels those blushes, because we're talking about a 3-on-none and a 1-on-none at that point in those two plays. And poor Lorenzo Mulatalo couldn't do much on either of them. But from there, the Eels really rolled up their sleeves. I thought that the bench rotation was solid. I thought that Makahesi Makatoa was an absolute mountain through the middle, just an absolute rock for them, getting through a lot of work on both sides of the ball, including some powerful carries. Then it was really nice to see that the halves didn't overplay their hands, looking to give Hayes Perham some options out either side. And Jacob Arthur taking the line and using that short ball to great effect. And then on the opposite side, we saw Jordan Rankin punishing the Bears for trying to shoot up aggressively with a great call on that little option short ball to Hayes Perham. And Perham had options to his left with Will Penasini and Lalo Taumara'afa, but summed it up perfectly and got down himself.
Look, I thought it was one of those games where from probably about the middle of the half, we started to see the Eels forwards gain some ascendancy. You've mentioned Makatoa, who's had a tremendous season so far, and the other fella who's, I think, worthy of a mention in the forwards is Eliel Zakim. Mm-hmm. He's been quite extraordinary this season. I think he's been a bit of a find. I believe his background was originally with the Eels Pathways. Is that right? Yeah,
he came to us, or at least it was in the juniorette program initially. I think he was a junior SG ball player for us, and I believe he was banged up for most of that campaign and then was poached, and then eventually found his way back to the club. And he's been I won't quite go so far as a revelation, because that's a very strong word and I don't want to put undue pressure on him, but he's been very pleasing to watch this year.
Yeah, so both of those players were doing a tremendous job with the hit-ups, winning the middle, strong defensive collisions. You could see, as I said to you, early in the half, you had the Bears going for the early kicks, looking to turn the Eels forwards around, and it was doing the job, because when you've got a defensive team turned around so quickly, and they're having to run back 40, 50 metres to get back on side, it's probably about 3 to 4 tackles in some cases before all of the forwards are back behind the play the ball. Now, that's taking out any sort of attacking options that the ball carriers have, or the team in the possession has. So that's where you get so much of the work that's done by the back three or the back five, as the case may be, when you throw in the centres doing the work.
Yeah.
But in this instance, that was working quite well for the Bears in the first half. Then, as I said, there was a bit of a momentum shift partway through the half. Eels forwards starting to gain a bit of an ascendancy. You started to see Rankin and Arthur have a few more opportunities. When I say opportunities, I mean there was space for them to work in. So they were given a bit more. They had a bit more time to put their plays on, and you saw then that they were able to create the tries on both sides of the ruck. So very good half. Certainly the back 20 minutes for the Eels. It was looking, I won't say dodgy, but the opportunities that the Bears were creating on the Eels' edges and out wide, I had great concerns when they were creating those, as you said, 2-on-none and 3-on-none overlaps. You had to think, well, how is this coming about? Obviously, the Eels operate a compressed defence, but that the slide that just wasn't happening with that defence. It was, if only for the fact that the Bears couldn't find the last pass a couple of times, it could have been a completely different half, would you say, mate?
Yeah. You talk about sliding doors in games all the time, and the Eels, for the most part, took their opportunities, whereas the Bears didn't, and that's why we're at this 12-0 juncture. And I really want to see the Parramatta Eels go on, and they don't have to thrash the Bears because they are a top 4 team in this competition. But, go on and secure the victory from this point, consolidate their lead, play good football, and don't give them being the Bears, the opportunity to find their way back into this contest.
Mate, it's good to see that there's a number of fans that are in the stadium already. It's not like you'd say it's a huge crowd, but whenever you've got, I'd say the number of, I'm gonna estimate that there's probably between 2,000 and 3,000 people within the stadium already.
Yeah, numbers starting to trickle in, and support of the New South Wales Cup and the Jersey Flag is something that we always do push. There's a lot of good football to be had in those grades, on top of supporting the journeys of a lot of good blokes trying to make a career out of it. And in this case, Bank West, no particular concentrated blocks of supporters, but across the entire stadium, lower and upper decks, you're seeing clusters of fans. So really good numbers so far.
And of course, the alternative is the playing out in suburban grounds. And look, I don't mind going and watching a game at Ringrose Park. You're close to the action. You hear the contact, you hear the calls. It's a good ground to watch at. But for the players, you'd have to feel that if you are playing in the New South Wales Cup or the Knock-On Effect Cup, and you're playing the same day as the first grade, you sharing the sheds that your first grade team's playing, you're wearing the same jersey, you're running out on the field before their games, the players, the coaches, they're all getting to watch you. The alternative to that is playing on a suburban ground. You're playing mostly in front of family and friends on days like that. You've got, if there's no clash with the first grade, then you might have some of your teammates, or your club mates, the coaches watching you. If it clashes with the first grade, there's no chance that they're going to be there. So, look, even though it's not like the old days where you'd have the stadiums that weren't stadiums, they were basically, you might have had a stand and a hill, and people talk about the 3 grades. I'm one of those people who love the old 3 grades at the grounds, and you could have a packed ground during the under-23s or the 3rd grade back in the day, but that was because that was back in the day where there were no reserve seats. So if you had a big match between, say, Parramatta and the Roosters, or Parramatta and Manly, Parramatta and St George, and you were going to get a full house at the ground, which is primarily a hill, people would get there early to get their spot on the hill, and there were plenty of times where it was just ground closed. So if you didn't get there by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you might not have got a spot in the ground on those big matches. So we're not going to see those days again. You're not going to have the lower grades playing in front of a full house or a near full house like you used to have back in the day. But if you've got them playing before a few thousand people, I think the benefits that are there for these lower grade players far outweighs the maybe the little bit of the... and we know there is an extra cost at staging this. Mm-hmm. We know that. So, but I think from the point of view of considering like true pathways meaning a way that you are getting from your lower grades to first grade, it becomes a true pathways when the players are on show before the first grade game. And we certainly are enjoying being able to watch it here at Bankwest Stadium. We enjoy being able to provide it for you. And as I said, if you've got any feedback for us, please hop on to the post on the Cumberland Throw. Let us know what you think of the call. We're happy for any feedback.
And just a reminder for anyone that may be tuning in, it's half-time in the contest. Parramatta Eels 12 lead the North Sydney Bears nil. Try scorers for the Eels, Michael Oldfield and Hayes Perham. Jordan Rankin 2 from 2 off the tee. In a really good contest where the Eels have gained ascendancy on the back of plenty of hard work from their forwards and their outside backs and halves capitalising on the few opportunities that they got. As we do believe that the break must be in the back end now. Touchies are on the field, main officials out there as well. Just waiting for players from both teams.
Mate, we've got the DJ going. DJ Nicole Tanya is working the crowd from... she got a little light display there in the corner of the stadium.
Oh, she's directly down from us there.
Yes,
She's in the tunnel on the actual club side entry there. So she's getting right into it and providing entertainment for the couple of thousand in attendance right now. But yeah, waiting for the players from both teams, with the Parramatta Eels kicking off in the second half when they do eventually get onto the field.
Yeah, referee's signalling for the players to come out. Well, he's certainly waiting. He's got football in hand. He's a man on a mission.
he's had a pretty good game, to be fair. If I can just find his name, I want to give him a shout out here. Do they actually list the referee under the team lists on New South Wales Rugby League?
We've got the Bears coming out onto the field just as 40's looking up for the official's name.
They don't list the officials. No.
We've got the Bears coming out onto the field. They'll be running towards the river end in this second half. The Eels turning around, heading towards the club end of the field.
Mm-hmm. You ever seen a referee penalise a team for taking too long to get it back out in the field, mate?
Well, if they decided to start, unfortunately, it'd be the Eels that would be penalised at this point.
In my illustrious high school rugby league career, it happened to us once. It was in the stinking heat of Grafton. They were taking too long to hydrate up before, in a sort of carnival day, taking too long to get back out onto the field. We got penalised.
So what happens when you get penalised for that? Is it
on
that
halfway?
They allow the opposition to kick off, regather, and score?
No. Just panelling on halfway. It's much less mundane than that. Just the old infringement centre field on halfway.
Was it? I'm sure that was what happened in the one of the early premierships. Was it? I don't know if it was the first one. South. I think it was South and Balmain. And
is this the forfeited game?
I think it was the forfeited game, or they thought they. I think was it Balmain that thought that South
that agreed to just not play the game. That's right, and they turned up.
South turned up, kicked off, regathered, scored. Premiership there and then. I'm imagining there wouldn't have been too much of a crowd in attendance. I don't think I would have wanted to pay him a 1 penny or tuppenny.
That's a grudge you would hold for a long time, I tell you what. Eels now shaping up the kick-off. Referee taking his position slowly, looking around to see what's happening on the sideline with the additional officials, it looks like. Now he's taking his mark, clearing all the players, hands up, let's go. Second half underway as the Eels kick down to the right edge of the Bears. Ball is marked about 9 metres off the line as they send their prop forward into the defensive line. I believe that one might be, pardon me, just to pull up my team sheet here, might be Ben Thomas there. Is that number 8? It's hard to tell from here. No, it's not. It's number 18. I got it halfway right, so that would have been Zach Montgomery instead of the other player there. Bears continue to work it to their left. A bit of extra shenanigans in the ruck, but nothing's called. That's a flat pass at the line, catches the Eels short, but Will Penasini looking to make a cover tackle. Doesn't quite get his man in the first attempt, but he does prevent the outright line break from happening. Comes back and makes a tackle with Joey Lussick on halfway. Probably a forward pass there, but you live and die by those calls. That's fine. Back to the centre field now for the Bears as they work it into Parramatta's half. Ball is marked 10 metres in with a tackle to spare for the Bears. Playing to their right now. There's Montgomery once more playing out the back to Marsh. Flat ball to the right edge back rower, Jerry Key, but the ball is dropped with the Eels looking to play the advantage as Sean Russell links up with Hayes Perham across the field. Perham taking the ball down Parramatta's right edge and marked about 35 metres out. Got there eventually.
That was one of those balls, mate, where the pass put the receiver under far too much
immense pressure. Yeah,
he was never going to catch that, as we see the Eels hitting it up over the halfway mark.
Kai Rodwell, I believe, takes the Eels over halfway, about 8 metres into the Bears' territory. Eels stack to the right as they go left. Shape right, left. Lussick playing short to Ray Stone. Pardon me there. Having lunch repeat on me there. Highly professional standards in the TCT broadcast booth. Hayes, Nathaniel Roche, a little dummy to the right and getting in behind the markers who had no idea what was going on. Pinches about 12 metres. Could have got a 6 again, perhaps. Lussick now playing right from dummy half to Jacob Arthur, who finds Rankin. Eels stack to the right. Block play for Hayes Perham, who has to reach out and grab the pass from Rankin. Pulls up and heads back infield, linking up with Big Wiramu Greg on the cutout. Greg with the big don't argue fend. And he's ridden to, the guy literally jumped up on him. That might have been Michael Fenn there, has actually jumped up on the back of Greg and ridden him to the ground. Cut out pass to Michael Oldfield down the left edge, who flips the arm out, gets the offload away to Sean Russell, and the young winger dives over in the corner. Referee is pointing to the ground. The Eels had their third try, 60s.
In that instance, it almost looked like the Bears had conceded that they believed that the tackle had been completed, but Michael Oldfield continued to fight in the tackle. He got the one armour away.
The old Inspector Gadget arm just thrust out.
Yeah, just thrust out, got it out to Sean Russell, who was completely unmarked. He just had to basically reach out, dive over, plant the ball down, and Eels first on the board, first to score after half time. We've got 2.5 minutes of the second half that's gone. And this time the kick is well and truly in the on the sideline, mate.
They haven't been doing young, but I'll say young in relation to some older people, I suppose. Jordan Rankin any favourites today. At best, he's been 8 or 9 metres in from field. And like you said, mate, this one's been marked right on the sideline of
2 millimetres in from the left-hand post.
Sean Russell touching down just inside the field of play. Sorry about the calling of the play just before with Greg getting ridden to the ground. We sort of baffled the tackle, which then led to a fast play the ball, and the Eels capitalising on that. Jake Arthur, I believe, rifling the pass to Oldfield, who did the rest as we called.
Well, with Greg, it was like with his free arm, he shoved the bloke about 5 metres backwards, but at the very moment that he shoved him backwards and he was in that position ready to take off himself, the North City defender jumped all over him.
It's like a movie scene when you see the giant bully getting jumped on the back and then pushed to the ground.
I thought it was a ninja move, mate.
As Jordan Rankin steps into his kick, it looks like it's going to be pushed to the right. Probably didn't have the distance to, and the touchies waved it away. Parramatta Eels will stay.
Strike there.
Yeah, not a clean strike from the man that was otherwise perfect prior to that, as the touchies do wave it away. Score remains 16-0. 4 minutes have been played now in the second half. Eels, with a comfortable lead, looking to continue to build.
Sean Russell seems to be featuring on the try scorers list quite a bit.
Has a real knack for getting over, and he is not a winger by trade. He was as a Harold Matthews player, but we're now a few years down the track where he's a specialist fullback. But he's managed to find a way to keep himself involved, and he's got some real speed, the young man. And I'm not afraid to take those hard carries too, as we've called in this game. A couple of really strong post-contact carries helping the Eels get out of their danger zone.
I think that's probably the part of his game that's pleased me today, mate, is his strong carries into traffic.
Correct. As the Eels now work it out, 2 tackles into their next set. It looks like Nathaniel Roach perhaps with a carry there. Playing it left now to Kai Rodwell, who steams on the ball, takes 3 Bears defenders to pull him down just short of harm, 40 metres out from Parramatta's line. Slow play the ball there as the Bears lay over him. But we go right to Joey Lussick, who straightens the ball, falling just short of halfway. Eels stacked both sides here. Looks like an even split. Got options either way. They are going to play to their right, though, as Jordan Rankin gets in. Oh, he's gone for the kick, but he's juggled the ball, managed to re-gather it in, and then drilled it over the sideline about 14 or 15 metres out. So, cool head. They're going to mark it very favourably, about 12 metres out. That's probably a few extra metres than the Eels deserve, but we'll take that one.
Yeah, in the end, good recovery to get that ball drilled into the corner. It was looking a bit dodgy. I'm not sure how he held on to it. It was because it was one of those drops that looked to be coming out like an unexpected drop. Not that you're going to expect certain drops, but he wasn't under any pressure, and it was just coming loose. And you think when that happens, that's just going to end up a clean drop. Bears,
so Mulatalo taking the first carry for the Bears, followed by a very flat pass from dummy half. Next carry coming by way of their right centre, Tom Carr, I believe. For tackle 3 now for the Bears as they fight it out past their 30-metre mark. Tough set here, but they're still getting their work done. Maybe looking for an early kick here as they play it to their right edge back rower, Jerry Key, managing to actually hold on to the ball this time around, although the pass was a bit better, I do have to say. Dummy half jumps out now and plays a short ball to the line, but Michael Oldfield and I believe Ray Stone combined there to tackle him cleanly. Continuing with the right edge short side plays, they find the right edge back rower, Jerry Key, again, but he is tackled down, and that looks like a turnover. Yeah, so
it's a turnover. I don't know if you noticed there, mate, but Ray Stone, as it was, because we were talking in the podcast this week, Joey Grime was talking about how defence can backpedal and the value of backpedaling. So
using the
Stoney
sideline
was backpedaling a bit there. He was maybe a bit offside. That might have had to do with why he was backpedaling. But as he was backpedaling, he was instructing the defence around him what to do and where to move, and they shut it down real easy. As we see the Eels now 40 metres out from their own line as Wiremu Greg takes it up towards the halfway mark.
Hayes Perrin with the useful contribution on the first tackle before the Eels go 2 wide with a long cutout pass. Then a short ball to Wiremu Greg. Back to the left now as Kai Rodwell plays to the line. He's met strongly but manages to fight his way through that initial contact and get on his avoid being turtled, is what I was trying to go for. Eels absolutely stacked up to their right. They go that way if Joey Lussick at first receiver, playing the block play to Rankin, who finds Arthur Dummies. First time goes, second time to Hayes Perham on the loop, and he is tackled far wide right. Eels now completely stacked to the left. It's the mirror image of what happened before. Arthur at first receiver fakes the inside pass, finds Rankin on the cutout pass and block. Dummy underneath, playing to the line. Rankin beats the first man and is wrapped up by the cover defence. They are now 18 metres short of the Bears goal line on the last. Michael Oldfield at dummy half, playing the ball to Jacob Arthur, who puts up the bomb. Eels onside, chasing centre field, contests the ball, and it looks like it's knocked off from the Bears perhaps. He's going to rule play on. 6 again? Correct, yeah. So contest the ball, dropped by the Bears forwards, scooped up by, is that Roach? Yeah, it looks like Roach, as Lussick picks up the ball from dummy half and tries to scurry over from about 5 metres out, pulled just short. Roach now slotting back into dummy half, playing the ball out to the right. Short ball to, is that Dillon or Rodwell?
Yeah, I think it was Kurt Dillon there.
That is Kurt Dillon, correct. So he had option to Jake Arthur, but plays a short ball to Dillon, who now finds Arthur. Numbers now for the Eels right as they play it out to Rankin. Quick hands to Will Penasini, who puts it out wide to Lalato Mata Arthur, and the Eels are in for their 4th try. Really well constructed right edge movement there. Great hands from Rankin and Will Penasini. Mata Arthur looked to have scored out wide, but did a little bit of a bluff and centres the ball about 15 metres to give Rankin his easiest kick of the night.
One of those sliding in for the try moments where he holds the ball up, doesn't quite ground it, gets up, probably gains about another 3 or 4 metres to bring the ball in, probably about 12 metres in from touchline, making that kick just that little bit easier. Certainly easier than the 2 millimetres in from the sideline as it was before. But as you said there, we had them. The Eels had the Bears for numbers there. 20-0 scoreline, starting to get away from the Bears a little bit here as we get to through the first 10 minutes of the second half, and a beautifully constructed try. It was just go through the hands. Again, we've spoken before about Rugby League 101, and that was another case of if you've got the numbers, go through the hands, you're there. And it was when they're only 10 metres out from the line and they've got them done for numbers, it was going to be hard to hold out.
And the scorers will mark that one down for Lalato Mata'afa in the 49th minute. Rankin now starting his approach for the conversion attempt. About 12 metres infield, 21 metres out to the right of the posts. Here we go. Takes his first step forwards, then back, stepping in, strikes it sweetly, going right to left, and the touchies love it as they raise both flags. Parramatta Eels now up 22-0. There's been 10 minutes played in the second half, bringing the total action to 50 minutes in the game. Parramatta really running away for this one here, but they don't want to let the Bears back into it, so just keep doing what they've been doing, work for that fundamental play, and then capitalise on the opportunities as they come.
We've seen many times before with lower grade football that it seems like the momentum shifts are even greater than they are in the NRL. That if one team gets a bit of momentum, 18, 20 points, that's not necessarily enough to wrap up the game when you've got about half an hour to go. So the Eels now hitting it up 12 metres off their line from the kickoff. Yeah,
the Bears pick out Jacob Arthur down Parramatta's left edge, who then finds Kurt Dillon. The bench forward taking the ball out 15 metres. Now Makahesi Makatoa running straight into the defence, and they struggle to bring him down as he fights his way out nearly to the 30-metre mark. Right now, continue for the Eels as Nathaniel Roach gets in, playing in that sort of that dual hybrid hooker lock roll that him and Joey Lussick share. The ball has not popped out, but there was complaints for a penalty not forthcoming. Joey Lussick now taking a carry as the Eels look to work it close to halfway. Lussick fighting his way through, and now the penalty comes for high contact. Lussick having, I don't know if it was the initial contact or if they slipped up high there, but the referees, slipped up high in the wrestle there, but the referee has signalled high. Rankin will kick the ball towards us, and if we're down in the bleachers, maybe we had a chance of picking that one up. Ball was marked now 10 metres into the Bears' territory. Oldfield tap and go to Ray Stone, who just steams into the defence. Ball has popped out, unfortunately. Stoney, unfortunately, turned the ball over on tackle one. Bears dodging a huge bullet. They come in, obviously, to celebrate defensively, whereas the players of the Eels commiserate Stoney on the error.
He doesn't look happy, mate.
No, he does not. Unfortunately, Eels now having to turn attack into defence and roll up their sleeves once again.
Do you know what? I'll tell you what I liked about I mean, obviously, I didn't like the drop ball. What I liked about it was I didn't see Stoney put his hand up and say,
who was that that was complaining about that the other day on mainstream media? Someone was saying they hate when they see it happen. Obviously you want to own up to your error, but this whole I did it stuff rubs them the wrong way. Maybe it was Joey. Left now for the Bears as they take the loose head and feed and win. Basic hit up from the scrum win. Quick play the ball though sets them up for a dummy half dart. Eels managed to rally defensively with their markers not in play, but the rest of the defensive line covering. Hayes Perham in the line at the moment, as want to do with the modern fullback structures. Bears playing to their right, flat ball to their number 15, Elia Fatui. Eels wrap him up pretty comfortably, but the ball is now inside their half. Bears look to go right but play left and are playing in behind the ruck once again. Eels defend all right. Fast play the ball opens up an opportunity to the Bears left. They play to the line, pass to their centre, down the left, Tony Satini, but the Eels do mark up really well there, preventing any further damage from happening. To the right now on the last. Bears about 10 metres out, spread the ball 3 wide looking for a kick. They play along the ground. Hayes Parham has the initial play. It gets bowled through the stumps there, but thankfully Sean Russell is acting as a secondary fullback and scoops the ball up without any further damage being done. The Eels do survive. Russell tackled about 8 metres off his line, with Michael Oldfield taking the second tackle carry, but he is driven back to pretty much where Sean Russell played the ball, maybe a couple of metres ahead. Tough ass sledding early in the set for the Parramatta Eels. They play it right now, and I believe, is that Raystone? It's hard to tell from this angle. But the Eels fight their way up to the 20-metre mark on the third, continuing to work it right as they centre the ball, giving them options on the last to kick either way. But the Bears are defending strongly in this set. Perhaps a little bit of momentum switching in the game now. Eels don't want to let this slide though. They play for block play out the rank and to the right. There's space now for the Eels. They find Will Pensini fairly ball, puts on a move on his opposite man, and half beats him with good meters, but is eventually pulled down about 5 metres short halfway. That is a much needed breathing space play for the Eels though. For the last, they go 2 passes wide to Jake Arthur on the last. Gets away a hurried kick under pretty significant kick pressure there, and the ball is fielded on the Bears 30-metre line. Good opportunity here for the visitors.
When they've gone for the second pass before the kick, that's probably what put Arthur under pressure there.
Correct.
If Rankin had taken the kick, which I think might have been the preferred option, they were a good chance of getting the ball down into the Bears' quarter. As it was, hurried kick, and the Bears are now 3 tackles in, and they're nearly 10 metres into the Eels' half.
Yeah, Tavita Alifa and Zach Montgomery getting the Bears underway here, but the ball has popped out the back.
He's passed it. He's passed it into his teammate's back, but he's beaten Oldfield.
Oh, great intercept there by Hayes Parham. Reads the final pass at the last line of defence with the 2-on-1. Eels cover defenders helping split put space between the attackers, but Parham has managed to put his hand out and mitt that great catches.
That was try time for the Bears, mate.
That is a definite 6-point save there because they were going to centre that ball and kick from under the posts. So a huge defensive play from Hayes Parham as the Eels look to work it out towards halfway. Michael Oldfield carrying the ball up out past the 40-metre mark for the Eels. They are playing on the left edge short side at this point in time. Stacked to the right now, Makahesi Makatoa queuing up for a carry. The big man, the big Mochaccino with that haircut once again, carrying the ball up centre field. Eels again stacked to the right, looking to work that way once again. Arthur in first receiver. Shapes to go inside, but ends up kicking, and this is a really good kick. Lots of pressure on the Bears, and has he lost that?
I thought he lost it.
He has. That is a tremendous kick chase from Lolotol Mata Arthur there, but it's credit to Jake Arthur for that kick there. He has driven it low through the defensive line.
Mate, try and describe what that ball was doing along the ground, because to me, it was almost like the grubber equivalent of some of the torpedo bombs.
Yeah, he kicked it low with a bit of topspin. He got that wicked worm burner roll on it, and with the pressure from Lolotol Mata Arthur, the Bears did not have a very comfortable opportunity for Sione Hopewadi, to pick that ball up, and Mata Arthur, as soon as he had his hands on it, just crunched him and forced that error. So the Eels will come in centre field 10 metres out, right in front of the post with the loose head and feed, with once again that 3-3 split from the scrum, giving them options either way based on where Hayes Parham goes. It looks like they're going to use the fullback as a swing option to create numbers, and they will play right as Roach takes from the lock forward roll and then turns Hayes Parham under back towards the posts. Beats the initial defender, but is trapped 5 metres out. Referee getting plenty involved there in the tackle. Eels numbers to the left. They play out the way to Joey Lussick at first receiver. Block play to Clyde Rodwell, who was tackled, but not after taking the ball about 3 metres short of a line. Eels built out to the right. They go that way as Nathaniel Roach gets our dummy half and then turns Makahesi Makatoa back in. The big man has about 4 or 5 defenders on him, so there are numbers either way now for the Eels. Pending a fast play the ball, which doesn't quite come, so they play out to the left to Jacob Arthur, cut out pass to the half, plays flat to Ray Stone, beats the first man for Fend, and is then wrapped up by the car defenders 3 metres short. Eels heavy overloaded right edge, as Jacob Arthur takes the ball first receiver, looks for a short kick in. Oh no! So that was a caught shot there between the halves. Arthur looking for Rankin with the grubber kick, reading that there was no fullback in the game. Ball takes a deflection in the line, and unfortunately Makahesi Makatoa can't bring it in on the deflection and knocks it on, letting the Bears off the hook. Let me just regather myself for a second there. That was a real mouthful. Bears working the ball down their left edge now. That's a really good carry from Sione Hopewadi there, good 15 metres, taking them well out of their danger zone and towards halfway. They still have a tackle to spare as they play the ball on their 40-metre mark, working towards their right where they pay for their number 8, Ben Thomas. He's pulled down 2 metres short of halfway, and the Bears will set up for their clearing play in just one tackle. There's an error from the Bears. It looks like a Jesse Marsh taking on the line. And
it's called as a loss.
I'm not sure if he was trying to flick it out if that ball popped out, but he's taken on the line, and a good tackle from the right edge defence. It looks like that was Will Penasini and perhaps Elliot Elskaham combining there to force the error.
And at 40 metres out from the Eels line, this is a good part of the field for the Eels to be given their first tackle. Although it looks like scrum, it will be a scrum because it wasn't on the last. But
you got to love the fact that it can be a playable on scrum these days.
You sort of had the feeling now that the Bears are maybe going to start to try to push a few
passes. The Bears are definitely looking to throw caution to the wind and take the chances as they come, and if not, create chances that wouldn't otherwise be there. But thankfully, so far, the Eels have defended somewhat grimly and done the job up to date. So there is just under 22 minutes left in this contest. Eels leading by 22 zip. Just to elaborate on the scorers, we had Michael Oldfield and Hayes Perham in the first half. Before it was Sean Russell and I'm trying to figure the fourth try. Sean Russell and then Alalatul Mata'afa. There we go. So it's been a good day for the outside backs.
Yeah, we just had Jordan Rankin receiving some attention and a couple of the Bears receiving some attention. So we've had a bit of a break in play.
Yeah, it's oranges out there at the moment. Bit of a drinks break as players receiving treatment, and the water was out there getting all the boys hydrated. And I think we're somewhat clear. The Parramatta trainer is coming off. The Bears trainer, coming off now. We can finally pack that scrum centre field in Parramatta's half 40-metre mark. Eels now showing a different split. It's a 2-4 split. It's from right to left. They play to the short side, finding Will Penasini with the early ball. He skips to the outside and beats his man with a nice little fend, but is tackled by the winger, John Sione Hopewadi. Sorry there, Sione. Good run from Will Penasini, getting the Eels underway in this set. Play goes over halfway now with Kai Rodwell, I believe it is, for the Eels play out to Joey Lussick, who finds Jacob Arthur, then turns Raystone underneath. Ball is now marked about 12 metres into the Bears' territory. Great opportunity here for the Eels to build some pressure. Makesi Makatoa is that first receiver, has runners to his outside but takes the carry himself. Eels loading to the right now as Nathaniel Roach plays left instead, finding Joey Lussick, who then finds Jacob Arthur. Dummy and go from the young half, barely pulled down by Marsh and might be Max Bailey, I'm not sure there. Lussick at first receiver once again, finding Jordan Rankin. Little stab chip kick there, looking for, is that Ellie Elskaham? And the big back row, not front rower, rewarded for the hustle there. That was another called shot from the Eels. Early kick in the set, stabbed it in behind the left edge of the Bears, and Elskaham has shown some great hustle and determination to win the race to that ball and score.
He literally threaded the needle there with that kick. When it was running between the Bears defenders, you had Bears defenders chasing, you had Eliel Zakim chasing, and he just showed a little bit more hustle to get to the ball.
And that's probably been the story today, hasn't it? That the Eels just been that much more determined, that much more wanting than the Bears, and that's been the difference. So really good. That was obviously something that was pointed out in the second half, or at half time for the second half by the coaching staff, Ryan Carr and company, because we saw Jacob Arthur looking to try and find Jordan Rankin just a couple of sets before with the early kick. And this time it's Rankin looking to find his right edge back rower.
And given that Rankin was responsible for the kick, I think it's fair to say that he wanted a kick closer to the post when he thread the needle of that kick only about 5 metres to the right of the post.
If you blokes aren't going to do it for me, I will do it myself, damn it. So he's laid it up on a platter for Elskaham, who was duly obliged, giving the 5'8", by far his easiest conversion of the night, about 5 metres to the right of the uprights, 12 or 13 metres out. Once again, taking that hunched over stance, looking to stroke it in ever so gently from this range, as he will take that first step forwards, then back, entering that realignment towards the ball. There we go. 1 step back, 2 steps back, steps into it, and drills it between the uprights. So that means that Eels will lead by 28-0, with just the one missed conversion from Rankin, who's had a very good night off the kicking tee and been heavily involved throughout the contest for the Eels.
And we've got just over 19 minutes of the contest left. We're probably at the stage where I'm going to touch wood. The contest is beyond what the Bears are going to be able to pull back in 19 minutes of play. But let's see the Eels finish this game off as strongly as they've been playing for the last 30, 40 minutes.
I was going to say it is now short kickoff territory for the Bears with under 20 minutes to play, and they're chasing 5+ scores eventually, or 5 or so contested scores. So they've opted to go for the long kick, though. This one going to Parramatta's right edge for the first time in the second half. Eels get back on the second tackle with Makahesi Makatoa taken about 20 metres out for the Eels as Joey Lussick takes it to the left and is tackled just over the 20-metre mark. Only a short gain on the third there for the Eels. Back to the right now as Makahesi Makatoa gets his second carry of the set. He is met strongly, but once again, the post-contact work from the big man is phenomenal. Taking the ball out strongly past the 30-metre mark. Shift now to the left as Arthur takes the ball and then turns Raystone back inside, who then goes back to the left towards the sideline, carrying defenders well past the 40-metre mark. On the last, Arthur will kick it from just inside the 40-metre point, getting underneath the ball, driving it about 15 metres off the Bears line, where it was comfortably fielded by the Bears fullback, Josh Bergerman, who was then tackled about 30 metres out. Left for the Bears as Tom Carr gets an early carry, the centre getting in to help the forwards. Eels defending strongly here, well back on side here. Shouldn't be any issues in that regard for a 6 again.
That was big contact.
Yeah, big contact. Was that Kai Rodwell? Yeah, it looks like it underneath alongside Raystone. What a shock, Raystone getting in there for some dirty work in defence. Bears now working it down their left as they look to fight it out to halfway for a clearing kick. Their number 10, Michael Fenn, doing just that, carrying the ball strongly in the Parramatta's half. That was a great carry from the big man. 10 metres in the Parramatta's half now. On the last, they play it to their left as Marshke looks to get a bomb up. Was that kick pressure from Nathaniel Roach, it looks like, as a ball was marked comfortably by Hayes Perham. Nice little darting carry to the right. Links up with Sean Russell, who was drilled, but that's a good kick return in general. Nice defensive read there, but the Eels will start their set 20 metres out with good field position. Playing it to the right as Lalatol Mata'afa, I believe it is, gets a run. That might be Will Penasini, but I think it is Mata'afa. Eels continue working it to their right as now Penasini gets a carry. The outside backs on the right edge doing plenty of work this set. Ball is now marked just 5 metres short of halfway. A few tackles in hand for the Parramatta Eels. They work it back to the left as Rankin at first receiver then finds Kurt Dillon, I think that is. It's hard to tell between him. It's hard to tell between him and Kai Rodwell from this angle at times. They've got the same build. Arthur plays the outside inside to Kurt Dillon, who looks to pass it, but then takes the tackle. I was thinking grand delusions of a cutout pass there, it looks like. It is the last. It was 10 metres inside the Bears' half. Passing back to Jacob Arthur, who puts up a contestable bomb? No. Going to just outpace his kick chasers. Bears will spread it from Tom Carr back to their fullback, Joshua Bergman, who was tackled 24 metres out from his line. So back into an arm wrestle here in this game as the Bears and Eels continue to trade sets. Nothing too expansive from both teams, but some strong carries helping both teams get to sort of centre field kicks, mate.
Yeah, and it's obvious that the game has, I think it's getting away from the Bears, because that was a very, very solid set of 6 from the Eels where they really didn't need to do too much. It was just work through the set, strong carries, get the kick in at the end, and there's not really too many questions being asked of the Eels defence as the Bears have been bringing it back, and they're up to the 5th tackle, 40 metres out from the Eels line. Yeah,
that's an astute point. Just because the Eels are ahead by 28 doesn't mean they need to overplay their hand. They're just getting through their sets as the bomb goes up with Hayes Perham pulling it in, it looks like. Yep, he has taken it cleanly. Had about 3 chases in his grill there, but he's turned his back and done that great little basket catch. Sean Russell will take the ball on the second with another solid carry as he works the ball out. About 15.
I like the way he's carried the ball into contact tonight, mate.
This is, on the coaches' tape, they're going to love this. There's an early shift from the Eels there from Arthur to Raystone. Sees the Eels get out 25 metres off their line. Probably an opportunity there for Stone to pass if he was one that's taking a big risk, but I don't mind him just holding the ball there. Continue playing that at left edge now as, is that Kai Rodwell? Finding Michael Oldfield. It is really hard to tell from this angle who was who between Rodwell and Dillon. Oldfield is, what is going on here? Oldfield has been held down. There's now a trainer.
We've got a Bears player that's
so
an injury.
Oldfield took an age to get to his feet, but that was because there was an injured Bears player. So the trainer has just jumped about 5 metres in from the sideline to start tending him. Is that a neck injury perhaps for the defender? Yeah, so the referee's just checking that everything's okay. Play will stop for the time being, though. We've got 2 or 3 trainers out there now for the Bears. I don't know if this is a stinger or something like that, because they're sort of, or is it, no, it's a HIA. So yeah, it's a HIA. So the trainer has smacked the noggin a couple of times. His noggin, of course, not the injured player. And he's going to escort him off the field as the Bears use the interchange by virtue of the concussion protocol. We will wait for that player to take the field and square up at marker as Oldfield waits to play the ball. There we go. So they've brought back on their number 13, Max Bailey, in place. Oldfield eventually plays the ball as the pass comes to Jacob Arthur, going one wide the Makahesi Makatoa, who centres the ball about 5 metres short of halfway. Eels got options either way here. They're going to play left or right. They do come to their left. It's Jacob Arthur as he drives a kick downfield. Ball is taken comfortably by Josh Bergerman as he fields it about 16 metres off his line near the right touchline, or his right touchline rather. Good carry for him, takes the ball back out to the 30-metre mark. He's gone for a bit of work, Josh Bergerman. The opportunities haven't really been coming to him, but he's been solid for the Bears today.
In fact, I would suggest that in a beaten team, he's actually been one of the standout players on the field. Yeah,
he's been really good in the kick return duties. As a rare 6 again is called for the Bears. I think that's just the second or third, maybe the third of this game. Been very few penalties and very few ruck infringements, which means the game's been played at a nice pace with a lot of opportunities for both rosters. Bears getting the chance now to work it in the Parramatta's half, and they do that via their big number 10, Michael Fenn. He's been pretty soft for them through the middle in the second half, although the points certainly haven't come their way. Flat pass now to the number 8, Ben Thomas. The Eels meet him strong in the front line as 3 or 4 Eels pull him down eventually on the 20-metre mark for Parramatta. Bears will play it to their left as they find their halfback Marsh, who plays a short ball at the line. That is a great tackle by Ellie Elskaham. That's a great read. Good pass on Marsh, but Elskaham's just up to the challenge. Continuing to play left for the Bears as they drill it in along the ground. The ball's deflected, picked up by the Bears, and then it looks like it's knocked on for what should be a 10-metre restart. Is singly knock on correct? Yeah, it looks like it would be a 10-metre scrum for the Eels where they choose, or is it a turnover? So it's going to be a play the ball. So, yeah, there you go. That was on the last, it turns out.
For one horrible moment, I thought we were going to get at the line dropout that the ball was live.
But, I want to credit that entire right edge there, because starting with the Elskaham read at the front on that short ball, followed up by the fast play the ball, and then read by Penasini and Hayes Parent at the back there, that was really quality. As the Eels now work it out through the middle, their right edge getting involved early on, playing it to the left now as a long cut-out pass comes to Arthur. He finds Ray Stone, who dummies back left and right before he is tackled 40 metres, on the 40-metre line rather, with Michael Oldfield at dummy half, playing it to Arthur, who then turns Nathaniel Roach, I believe, back inside. That might be. No, Roach is a dummy half, so I've gotten myself completely cross there. No, that is our poor Kurt Dillon, who's been absolutely butchered by me all year. Early kick from Arthur, finds a touch finds grass between winger and fullback. Really good clearing kick there. The best in a long time in the second half as Josh Bergerman, is trapped 10 metres off his line. Good kick chase there from the Eels. A lot of work to do for the Bears in this set as they ruck it out to the right. Eels defenders pouring in here, slowing down the play of the ball legally. Rather than slowing down the play of the ball, slowing down the tackle, That is a great run there, though, by Sione Hopewadi. They really needed that sort of impetus in the set. They were going nowhere, and on the third, he really flies on the ball with good post-contact meters. They play it to their lock forward now, Max Bailey, who carries it about 38 metres off their line, working towards their right. Back to that number 10, Michael Fenn, who has options to his right but continues to focus on just cutting the ball up. No frill set here from the Bears. Going to play it to their left with one tackle to spare. Number 8 plays it to the halfback Marsh. That is a great read by Will Penasini. And now a live ball for the Eels. Opportunity here is he can link up with Will Penasini as Jordan Rankin scoops up the loose ball, but couldn't find Will Penasini. That was good heads-up play. Eels playing the advantage now on the attack, 18 metres out from the Bears line. If only Rankin could have found Will Penasini there, it was a certain try. Playing to the right edge short side now is Ellie Elskaham. Is nearly by the touch, but it gets an offload away. Oh my goodness, is that Will Penasini, who's been tackled a metre short off the offload. Opportunity now to the left of the Eels. They got numbers stacked. Goes to Rankin officially, long cutout pass, double under there, block to Jacob Arthur, who throws a cutout pass to. Oh, there we go. Beautiful for block. I got absolutely made a meal of that one, but it was a double block from Jordan Rankin, who then found Arthur, then linked up with the left edge back row. I believe it would have been Stone there with the final pass out to Sean Russell to get the double for the young winger. That was a gorgeous backline play coming on the back of some really good heads-up play off the back of a great defensive read from Will Penasini. That is a mouthful, mate. Now you can deal with that in the wake.
So what we basically had is Will Penasini's had a great jamming read in defence It's forced the turnover. The ball's been flicked up. This is around the halfway mark. The ball's been flicked up to Jordan Rankin, who's got the ball down into the Bears 20-metre zone. You've then had a couple of plays.
Eels game was nearly bundled into touch, flicks the offload back to Penasini, who will stop the metre short, setting up that big left edge shift where we saw Sean Russell score.
And it was the numbers. If the Eels hadn't scored, you'd have to say that it was butchered. Because,
be doing laps after the game, mate.
Look, I think in the end they had something like 8 on 4 on that spread. So, and again, they went back to basic rugby league where the ball went through the hands.
Yeah, the halves getting heavily involved in the process.
And by the time the ball got out into Sean Russell's hands, he's got no one in front of him. Well, ostensibly no one in front of him. He's just been able to get that dive over into the corner.
Jordan Rankin might have words of Sean Russell after this game, though.
And we're 2 millimetres in. From
he hasn't said to the ball whatsoever. So Rankin, once again, with his first sideline conversion in the second half, I believe. He's had a relatively good run of things in the second stanza after that first half, and he has drilled it flat, but to the left by about 5 metres in the touch. He's correctly waved that one away with their flags, the old wave flag wag. And with just over 8 minutes left to play, the Eels have an untouchable 32-0 lead. The question now will be for the Blue and Gold, can they get the shutout?
When we think back to that first half, mate, and when was the first try scored? Was it after like 21, 22
I think we
minutes?
had it billed at 21-22, yeah, for Michael Oldfield.
I would not have envisaged a 32-0 scoreline at this point in the game.
No, Bears get away a medium-range kickoff marked on the 10-metre point for the Eels as I want to say that's going to be Kurt Dillon, but it's probably Kai Rodwell, knowing my luck. Gets the ball out to about 19 metres off the Eels goal line. Numbers to the left, well, not numbers, but a stacked at left edge for the Eels as they work that way on the second. Looking for an opportunity to offload there was maybe Nathaniel Roach, but he's brought down. Eels playing fast now. Good run. That is Kai Rodwell there getting downhill and over the 40-metre mark. Fast play the ball for Nathaniel Roach, who jumps out dummy half, finding Kurt Dillon, who then plays it on to Jordan Rankin, who finds Will Penasini fairly ball. And we're going to have high shot. Is that, mate? Is that the signal there?
That seems to be the signal, yeah.
Yeah, so Will Penasini getting early ball in the cover defence, desperate to bring him down, coming a little bit too aggressively, and whacking him across the chops. Rankin, once again, getting through that kick quickly, taking the Eels up tempo as the ball is marked 30 metres out from the Bears goal line. Tap and go from Penasini, who links up with Ellie Osgaham, the big man, taken into the defensive line for about an 8-metre gain there. No, he's probably going to be credited with 10 by the all said and done after fighting through the tackle. Left to Rankin, who turns Wiremu McGregor, looks like, back in. That is Wiremu McGregor, is it? No, it's not. It's number 16. Charbel Tassapali, fresh into the game late in the contest. Nice little show and go from Jordan Rankin. 4 Bears have to converge on him to pull him down about 2 metres short. He was very nearly through there. Held that up beautifully at the line, creating hesitation in the defence as Roach plays it out to Charbel Tassapali, steps off his right foot, beats the first defender, and he's very close. Very close, but tackled just short. Lots of hands on the ball there, slowing it down. Nice little crash ball from Roach to Kai Rodwell, and that is a very deserving try. That's a Reed Marnie classic there from him to Big Reg, isn't it?
And it was a great hit and spin too from Rodwell. As he's hit the defence right on the line, he's done the classic rugby league hit and spin. So he's turned his body. They couldn't get hold of him to hold him up, which meant that as he spun, he was able to plant the ball down, and he's done so just to the left of the post. So you've got Jordan Rankins rubbing his hands with glee. He's got a chance to get another conversion on the board. And we see it there again. They've got a replay up on the screens. You've had that classic hit and spin. He's got over the top of the Bears' defence, and we're about to have a 38-0 scoreline with about 6.5 minutes of the game remaining. And
that was a nice little mix-up of play from Roach, because the Eels have been burning the Bears with those expansive backline sets across the last few possessions, and instead here he uses the short option, catches him out just to the left of the uprights. And yeah, well done to Kai Rodwell. Like you said, that hit and spin through the contact, that's what made the difference. And you can mark that one down for a try in the 74th minute there as the Eels just pile on the points today. This is not what we had expected coming into this, where if, the 3v4, the number 3 placed Bears coming into the number 4th placed Eels home turf, And instead, complete blowout here is Jordan Rankin, adds the extras there to take the lead out to 38-0. We now have 5 minutes left in this contest, and once again, the question is for the Eels: can they secure that elusive shutout, mate?
Look, I think once we're starting to get up into the territory where you're going, this is absolutely gold for the differential. And you don't want to have that spoilt with a late try to the Bears, 38-0 against a fellow top, potential finalist in the Bears. So great result for the differential today.
We actually have a few YouTube comments coming in here now with Nigel asking how the weather is at Parra Stadium tonight. And I have to say, given all the talk about a wet contest and all the deluge that's been coming down across the last 48 hours, it is spectacular playing conditions out there. So knock on wood that it holds true for the 7:55 kickoff for the main contest. But yeah, really ideal playing conditions out there at Parramatta today.
And also thanks to a loyal listener, Bill, who was able to give us the heads up on the Marshke twins a little bit earlier. So the comments that come in, either the direct messages or the comments, the public comments on the live blog or YouTube, much appreciated, everyone. Thanks for all the well wishes that happened before the game too. And
one thing is the Eels complete. Oh, that might be coming back as Jake Arthur is absolutely drilled. Yep, there we go. Drilled on the clearing kick from the post-try set. I was just going to say, one thing that's been really pleasing, I think that the Eels were 100% on post-try completions today. The following set, they've gotten through all of them, as Jake Arthur is absolutely drilled clearing the ball, and the Eels will get the penalty from about 6 metres out or 7 metres out. Down the Bears' left edge, Parramatta at his right edge, obviously, so we're going to mark that probably.
Just wanted to note there, mate, he got smashed. Did you notice he just got straight back up?
Yep, that's classic Jake Arthur, isn't it? He's tough as teak. Very much a chip off the old block there.
Yeah, just got straight back up. He's out run there, again, marshalling the troops. The last thing he's thinking about was the bloke that's put the hard shot on him.
Charbel Tassapali there for strong runners. Kai Rodwell, he gets a second half double, steaming into the line, pulled down a metre short, and has lost the ball. Jeez, I put the mockers on him there. I didn't see it, but he's not disputing it, so referee quick to pull that one up, and the Bears off the hook. Thankfully, with just under 3 minutes left in this game, they'll get at least one more possession here, probably two, depending on what happens in Parramatta's next set.
Have we got Dylan Clifford out there now, mate?
Perhaps, yeah, number 20 would be Dylan Clifford, yes. So good to see Dill out there. He's was a mainstay of the Parramatta Eels Holden Cup for a number of years, right through that run to the grand final. Departed the Eels for the West Tigers, and was actually meant, like we talked about Makesi Makatoa last year, was meant to be part of the program last year in reserve grade, but COVID put the kibosh on that one. And
I tell you what, he's a loyal Eels fella, lives up in the Hills District, loves Parramatta, couldn't wait to get back to the club, and good to see him out there in the blue and gold again.
Ray Stone pinged for a 6 again there for holding down in the ruck. Not going to be too much, rather academic at this point in the contest, as the number 14 for the Bears, Thomas Deacon, sort of pumps and then passes on his 20-metre mark. Bears working the ball out to their left, Eels defending strongly regardless. Number 10, once again, Michael Fenn, getting for a lot of work in the second half, but unfortunately hasn't amounted to much for the Bears. But the big guy has definitely been getting his numbers up there. Right now, as Marshke plays out to his halves partner, Josh Ralph, Bears creating something down their right edge, but Michael Oldfield does very well in cover defence to help Sean Russell's jam and get underneath and wrap up the Bears. Oh, good run there from Max Bailey for the Bears, steaming into the line, but then he's driven back by Roach and Kai Rodwell there. So strong defence meeting a strong carry and defence triumphing there. Last now for the Bears, Marshke plays outside inside to his number 8, and the ball is dropped as Eels look to pick it up and go play advantage. A number of passes finding their way eventually to Jacob Arthur, then finds Hayes Perham back to the right. Perham's setting off for a cheeky little run that pinches probably about 10 metres when all is said and done.
Bit of hot potato there, mate.
Yeah, a bit of a backyard footy there from the Eels with the advantage as they get back over to halfway. That might be Charbel Tassapali there. It's hard to tell from this angle. Right now for the Eels, as they work it into the Bears territory, opportunity offload there for Elsgahan perhaps? No. He is wrapped up. Eels continuing the play now with a number of tackles left in the set. Roach finding Kai Rodwell, it looks like, at first receiver. A bit of a pass, dummy to the left for taking it. And look at the post-contact metres, mate. He has gone about 8 metres plus.
We're in the last 40 seconds.
Yeah, last 40 seconds. Opportunity for the Eels to hit 40 here if they can score. After playing it out to Hayes Perham, show and go. Then links up with Michael Oldfield after the pump, or the double pump rather, Oldfield tackle 10 metres out as Sean Russell steps in dummy half, finding Perham, who then finds Arthur. Building to the right now as Arthur takes on the line. Out the back to Nathaniel Roach. Options here for the Eels, but they use Charbel Tassapali on the short ball. He has tackled about 13 metres out. Probably going to be the last play here for slow play. Arthur sets up for 20 metres out. Puts the ball down. Nice clean drop and then drives it through the uprights. The official looks to his left and right touchy. Eventually raises the hand and blows the whistle. And that will put the icing on this game as the Eels 39 defeat the Parramatta Eels to 39 defeat the North Sydney Bears 0. So they've secured the shutout, a fantastic all-round team performance. Jake Arthur there adding the extras with a cute little field goal, mate.
It's always good practice to be able to kick the field goal. And
it was a nice composed attempt too, wasn't it?
Very much so. So the Bears certainly weren't expecting it, and that's probably to be expected with a 38-0 scoreline.
That's true.
But he set himself up just behind the ruck, ball back to him, set, kicked, delivered straight between the uprights.
And now, good to see both teams as want to do on most games where they're being played in a good fashion. They're out there shaking hands. I suppose Eels celebrating, Bears commiserating. But this one means the Eels don't actually move equal to the Bears because the Bears entered this round with 4 wins, 1 draw. Eels were 3 wins, 3 losses. So they're going to be half a win behind the Bears, but with a very significant for and against boost and plenty of confidence, mate. That was that's the sort of performance that you want to see backed up after what they produced against Mounties in the opening sort of 10 minutes last week. They did the complete opposite here. They had the opportunity to be folded over by the Bears, who had all the running, but rolled their sleeves up and completely took the game away from a competition heavyweight.
And look, it's probably fair to say too that the Bears would have been impacted by the Roosters' injury run. They're the feeder club for the Roosters,
and we all know the Roosters have been somewhat cursed this year in the NRL.
Yeah, so they were down in numbers. It probably reached that point where it just becomes. Well, I think I said to you in the midweek podcast that I was tipping that the Eels would be too strong in first grade because it's become probably just that week too far in terms of dealing with injuries. Today, it looked like it was just too much for the North Sydney Bears to overcome the loss of a number of key players up to their first grade, up to the Roosters' first grade.
Credit to the Bears. They played a very strong brand of football for a significant portion of that game. It was a very good contest between the two teams until the Eels sort of, I'll say it was probably the third try where the Dams started the break open. The first 2 tries were well constructed by the Eels after absorbing pressure, but from there they sort of ran away with it. But yeah, I imagine that when they meet next time, should they meet next time in the season, I'm not sure if there's another regulation fixture scheduled, but should they meet in the finals, you have to think the Bears will be a bit more formidable with those troops coming back in one way or another. Yeah,
but I also think that this is a developing Eels team, and
that's a great call.
And that the more that they become accustomed to playing beside each other, you start to get the combinations. And combinations are important, not just in attack, but they're also important in defence, because you start to know what to expect from the bloke beside you. You build up the trust in that bloke beside you. So, as I said to you, this is going to be a fun year to watch with the Eels knock-on effect New South Wales Cup team, because they're a developing team, they're a new team. It's all new combinations, a lot of young, exciting talent that's in there. And I think we're going to get that mix of a result like today as well as a result like last week.
Very, very good call. And as we've been stressing in the tip sheet in general and on our various blogs, this is a very fun team to follow. They're young and inexperienced, but there's plenty of talent across the park. And you're not just talking about the blue chippers like Sean Russell and Jacob Arthur. You're talking about really good development prospects like Ellie Osgaham, who we're given a big shout out to before, and Kai Rodwell too. Guys that have just come out of, I suppose, left field. I mean, obviously the club's under due diligence on them to get them in this position to develop them. But they're really helping carry the load for the Eels and doing a fantastic job in a team that is going to get better and better. We are now approaching the 2-hour mark here. We do have the NRL late mail, so we'll probably just run through that before we sign off.
What about the let's just go through some of the try scorers again.
Oh, okay. So let me rephrase myself. We'll go through the rundown of the scorers before we get to the NRL late mail. So in the contest in round 9, the Parramatta Eels 39 defeating the Northern Sydney Bears 0, securing that big shutout for the blue and gold. For the Eels, there was a number of different try scorers, just Sean Russell with the double there. Otherwise, we had Hayes Perham start the scoring in the 28th minute, followed by Sean Russell, Lavatal Mata'afa, Ellie Elsgaham, Sean Russell, and then Kai Rodwell in the 73rd minute. Rankin was pretty good off the kick and D, 5 from 7. The 2 misses he had were from pretty difficult spots, with Jacob Arthur adding the icing on the cake in the 79th minute with that field goal. What was your favourite try of the day, mate?
Oh, mate, it's almost like being asked to choose a parent asked to choose a favourite child in a way, because I liked a lot of what the Eels put on today, and there was so much of it was standard rugby league, just getting through the hands. Look, I tell you, I'm going to surprise you. One of my favourite tries was actually just that hit and spin on the line. I like to see a front row forward who does just classic old rugby league hit and spin.
Got the wherewithal to sum up the contact situation and roll through the contact and score.
Yeah. And probably apart from that, I did like the first try that we put on where Jake Arthur found Michael Oldfield back running between the winger and the centre. It was one of those ones where you knew from the time that Michael Oldfield took the ball that he wasn't going to be denied, and it was as much about the pass that was thrown as it was for the line that was run by Oldfield. What about you, mate? What stood out for you?
I think the first 2 tries for me really stood out because it was the poise under pressure from both the halves. Obviously, you talked about Jake taking on the line there and playing the ball flat without over executing and then passing it forwards. You know, there's that fine margin that you have to sort of thread there when you're trying to catch out the defensive line and hit the centre on that crash ball. In the second instance, you saw Jordan Rankin, the defence jammed on him really aggressively on the goal line. He got the ball away to Hayes Perham as clean as you can ask for in that situation and created the opportunity from that. Otherwise, it could have potentially been a turnover. So I liked both of those tries. And I suppose the other one, you mentioned the Kai Rodwell try, which was really nice to see. The other one, the vision from Rankin to Ellie Elsgaham with the hustle play was nice. And I suppose the other one, the second Sean Russell try, where you just see the team correctly execute the edge-to-edge, sideline-to-sideline play. Could have gone wrong a number of ways by sloppy ball play or sloppy receiving work. And instead, the halves got both heavily involved there, managed to tie up the Bears enough on the interior defence to create the space for Russell out wide, who then duly finished. So that was a nice try too.
An observation, mate. It's the construction of those tries all came within the red zone.
Yes, yeah. You love to see that sort of red zone efficiency. Obviously, scoring a nice long-range try is exciting, but the ability to build pressure and execute correctly in the red zone is often what defines a team's success in the finals. And once again, talking about this inexperienced roster, they're doing a very good job of converting opportunities into points.
Yeah, it would be very easy to think about a team in this grade becoming impatient.
Yes,
looking to try to get a score on every play, but this was almost had the hallmarks of a Parramatta NRL performance when the NRL boys are playing that perfect style of football that suits Parramatta, and where they build up the pressure, lay the platform.
To toot our own horn for a moment, given that we have the exclusive interviews with Joey Grimer on the tip sheet, that's something that Joey's spoken about on a number of occasions, creating that sort of continuity in structures and in execution or ability to execute throughout the grades.
Yeah, and when you've got players coming up through the grades, it's obvious that you want them playing similar structures so that if they're called up to a higher grade, that they're not being asked to do something that they haven't been doing in their team in the past. So they've just got to find that role, the same role that they would have played in, and the same and similar structures to what they've been used to playing as they've come up at each level. So today, I really like the patience. We spoke before about the set completions. We spoke about completing the set after the try, so that you've got the kickoff, work through your set, complete the set, get to the kick, and that typified Parramatta's play today. So you never had a situation where after scoring a try that they gave the Bears any chance to hit back straight away, and I think that was critical. As soon as they were getting that try, they were getting the ball down the other end of the field, and if the Bears were going to have any chance whatsoever to score, they were damn well going to have to earn it, and they didn't earn it today.
Yeah, and you know that the coach is always going to nitpick stuff in the victory, even when you win 39-0. And Ryan Carr will put the tape on and find areas where the Eels couldn't improve. But this was a very fundamentally sound game, and I think that in their grading boxes for this contest, they're going to be having a lot of positive to excellent grades across the park. This was a comprehensive victory for the Parramatta Eels, and it's definitely something that they can sort of signal back to throughout the season and say, all right, we got it right here against the Bears. That's what we're going to be using as our basis moving forwards.
Yeah. Now we've got the build-up to the NRL game, mate, so we might get a few words in here before we wind up our live stream.
Yeah, so late mail has come in, and it's unfortunate but perhaps not a surprise. Nathan Brown has been ruled out for the Parramatta Eels. He's obviously nursing a severe cork on his left hip following the raised knee by Ava Suamanafungai against the Bulldogs in round 8. Excuse me. So what happens now with the reshuffle is that Sean Lane moves from the bench into starting lock, which is not a surprise. I think that was probably the most logical option, with Keegan Hipgrave, who dropped out of the contest in the New South Wales Cup today, moving onto the bench. So I'm interested to see how the Eels use Hipgrave, if he'll be a middle forward, which I imagine he would be looking at that bench because you've got Oregon, Kafusi, Hayes Dunster, Bryce Cartwright, and Keegs himself. So you'd think that Keegs probably... Well, then again, the Eels got so much flexibility in their forward pack. Zai Papali'i can easily slot into the middle, so maybe they use him on an edge. Who knows?
Well, he's been playing a bit of a mix of edge
Correct.
and middle
twinner.
In the New South Wales Cup. And I do have one thing that we have to point out. That unbeaten streak did come to an end.
Yeah,
for
unfortunately
last
against Mountie. So Ryan Madison now carries the torch for the Parramatta Eels because of his unfortunate sidelining due to the cheap shot from Felice Kafusi. He's undefeated on the season. So it's Maddo carrying the torch through to the grand final for the Eels as the undefeated Eel. So, but for the Roosters, there are a couple of changes there. A change there for them as well, as Jared Waria-Hargraves moves from the bench into the starting lineup with CSI Takiaho dropping back. They also have the change that was announced yesterday with Tukuhau Tapua, coming onto the bench due to that training mishap that led to one of their players being ruled out. So no Joseph Suwali debut. He was obviously brought out of his contest due to that bubble we were talking about when we were talking in the pre-game preamble about the potential shake-up for top 30 players to keep them in the contest for next week. If they played this week, they would potentially be unavailable for NRL duties in round 10. So it looks like the Roosters have an eye towards round 10 there of Suwali.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of those couple of late changes. Do those changes mean anything to you in terms of what you're expecting tonight, mate?
Obviously, the Eels are worse off without Nathan Brown, but the question is, would a 60 or 70% Nathan Brown, which is what I assume he'd be operating at with that cork, be as valuable to the Eels as Sean Lane starting? And, you don't always have the luxury to rest players in the NRL, and the Eels feel that they do this week. So they're worse off without Nathan Brown, but Nathan Brown in the capacity he would have been playing tonight, I think they're probably better off having Sean Lane start.
And I think it's fair to say that Keegan Hipgrave hasn't has performed quite admirably.
Yeah, Keegan's been really solid
this season. So, and as we said, up until the last week's New South Wales Cup game, he'd gone undefeated in Eels colours. So he was the lucky charm at that stage. But look, he's performed solidly whenever he's been required this season. So I don't have any doubts that there's still a strong bench that the Eels are able to put out there again tonight. I think that's where we've got the edge tonight, is on the bench.
Yeah.
I know that there's been plenty made about the players that the Roosters are missing, but you also have to look at the strength that they're fielding. So just run through that back line that they're fielding again, mate.
Some chump called James Tedesco, Daniel Tupou and Matt Ikuvalu on the flanks with Josh Morris and Joseph Manu in the centres.
That's horrible.
That's
an awful back line.
Terrible. It's only got 3 actual State of Origin players with a couple of incumbents there in Tupou and Tedesco. Josh Morris, obviously a champion player in his own right, with Joseph Manu being not only an international but a very high-level NRL prospect, the guy that's expected to be a superstar as his career continues to progress, and Matt Ikuvalu, who is one of the best backup wingers you could ever have at a club, a guy that scored 5 tries in a game and has always been super reliable for the red, white and blue.
And they lose Luke Kirian, who comes in?
Yeah, Sam Walker, he's all right, I suppose. Might end up winning an award or two, but, does he really deserve Rookie of the Year? I don't know. He's only got 12 try assists in a couple of games. No, Sam Walker obviously been a revelation for the Roosters. And I say revelation, but the hype around this kid has been there for a long time. He's one of the most highly regarded halves prospects to come through the junior systems. And that doesn't always pan out. You look at Luke Brooks and, he was held in the same regard. And, now we joke about him at the West Tigers. But for Sam Walker, he is delivering on the hype and then some.
Now, mate, go through their pack.
Well, in the starting pack, you've got Isaac Liu, who is a very good player. Ben Marsh, twin brother of the other boy that we'll call in this game. Thanks for the tips for calling that one in. Jared Warrior-Hargraves, New Zealand international. Angus Crichton, State of Origin player. Nat Butcher, good young player. And Victor the Inflictor Radley, who is pretty much all but a State of Origin player at this point in time. Barring injury, he will be in the New South Wales Blues outfit in 2021.
And I would suggest that if you suddenly put that Roosters lineup on the open market, you'd probably have clubs snapping up each and every one of those players.
Yeah.
There'd be plenty of clubs who'd love to be able to trot out that particular team, regardless of injury.
Yes.
So if anyone's thinking that this is going to be a walk in the park for the Eels with so many players that are out, you'd be mistaken. Now, having said that, as I said, I still think that it's a team that has been a bit battered over the last few weeks, and it's that those injuries last week. I think there was an emotional toll with that. So when I'm saying that they're battered, I just had the feeling that it certainly didn't look like a winning dressing shed, did it? When you saw the footage of the Roosters in the sheds after the game. I don't know whether they sang the team song. I can't remember seeing any footage of it. It'd be understandable if they didn't, but they just looked. I don't know. It's
the injury to Brett Morris doesn't tear this heart and soul out of that team, but it takes a pretty good chunk of it, doesn't it?
It does, and I think on the basis of that, you've got two ways that this game can go, I think. You've got, let's just say three. So the first way is that they lift, and they lift big time because they've got the odds stacked against them in terms of the injuries that they've had recently, so they rise. And they rise to the occasion against a team which is above them on the table in the Eels, in what is a big match atmosphere here at Bankwest Stadium. You got the second option, which is that Trent Robinson is able to get a similar performance out of them to what he's got all year, where it just becomes business as usual. Then you got the third option, which is the way that I think it might go, which is it's just a week too far with copping and battering. And don't get me wrong, I don't believe it's going to be a cakewalk, but I think we might get some late points to make it a decent sort of margin.
Yeah, and we spoke about this in the preview podcast on the tip sheet. This game represents a huge opportunity for the Parramatta Eels to create a mini break within the top four and give themselves some breathing space as they enter the back half of the draw later this year, where it's just an absolute murderer's row for them from week to week. But yeah, this is a game they should win, and in the past that term "should win" raised dread among fans. But I think now the Eels have been taking care of business, and in 2021 they've been taking care of business and breaking a lot of hoodoos and things that have held them back in the past. We saw the win against the Canberra Raiders in the nation's capital, 15-year drought breaker there. We saw the Eels go up to Darwin and put the Broncos to the sword the first time they've had an emphatic victory of that nature up in the top end. And then we saw the Eels take care of business against the Dogs comfortably. It wasn't pretty, but it was comfortable. So let's hope they continue on and make it a month of drought breakers and curse breakers and getting that monkey off their back.
And, mate, that's probably a good point for us to wrap up tonight's live coverage. For those of you who are regulars to the Cumberland Throw and tuned in, thank you for being part of this coverage. For those of you who maybe have just discovered the Cumberland Throw, hope you stick with us wherever possible. We are going to be covering the lower grade matches that aren't covered by either Channel 9 or Fox, or that aren't covered by a live stream by the New South Wales Rugby League. We tend to know that probably closer to the event rather than a long way down the track.
Also predicated on our ability to secure reliable internet as well. So there are some hurdles we have to jump through still. We don't say that as a negative to anyone that's involved in this process, just a pure logistical thing. But we are incredibly thankful of both the club and the New South Wales Rugby League for giving us this opportunity.
Yeah. So, again, thank you for joining us. 40, mate, an amazing call. When people are talking about the fact that the game's a faster game or there's fatigue involved, it's because there aren't any breaks in the play.
No.
And what we've just had there was 40 going, besides all of our chat before the game, at halftime, after the game, you've had 40 who's just had to go non-stop for 80 minutes, covering a game without a break. So I think anyone that's out there that's listened to it, maybe share a bit of love for 40 with his call. It's not an easy job.
I'll tell you what, mate. As much as we're giving me a shout out, it lets me know how much shit I talk in general. The fact that my vocal cords are still doing fine after all that, I give them a good workout every day. It turns out. So yeah, that was an absolute blast. And once again, we apologise for any trip ups and stumbles in the nature of the broadcast. We are very new at this, and it is a new endeavour for us. But we are having a ton of fun with this, and we hope you guys are enjoying listening along.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us, everyone. And mate, well done.